What's happening? Thanks for jamming out. Happy Friday to you. I hope you are enjoying your Friday, whatever it is you're doing. If you're working, you're at home, you're cleaning, but hopefully you're staying warm. It seems like the cold has hit everybody. Have you guys got any freezing rain, any snow yet? Let me know in chat. I hope everybody stays safe, warm, and you all keep your power. Hello, Miss Jamie Gee. She said, I didn't understand the live thing of YouTube until I found this channel, and I hate to miss them now. Thank you, Jamie. I try to go live every day, pretty much. I might take a break here and there, but pretty much every day around 11:30 to 12:30 every day with Jay. And I do schedule over on my true crime channel. If you are not subbed up over to Jay is for Justice and you like to follow true crime, court cases, and call out celebrity pedos and pedos across the world, sub up over to Jay is for Justice. Not freezing, just minus 11. No. Ooh. Wayaka, you're my neighbor. You're my neighbor. Howdy, neighbor. Red Bud, G&P, good to see you. Sarah Lee. Nobody does it like Sarah Lee. Minus 33 and feels like minus 47, Test Mac. Where in the world are you? Crash, you're close to... Okay, so my sister's in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And so I know all about that wind chill. Oh my God, you have 6 inches on the ground? Wind chill minus 14. Wow. The top 5 out of our county. Wow. Angie B, congratulations. Angie B's grand is so smart. Probably the smartest girl. D. Your wedding pic with your dad is beautiful. You still look the same. Oh my God. Thank you. I was 21. I was a ripe 21. Or wait, 20. Yeah, 21. I was about to turn 22. Minus 11 natural temp. Oof. The Uvalde trial got spicy after I stopped covering it. Of course it did. Of course it did. I did watch Runkle at night, though, to get updates. I did. That was a tough one, man. Hey, Tintin, you're freezing in Germany even. Hey, Kiki. Shakopee, Minnesota. Sarah, you've never seen the snow. Wow. I've shoveled more snow than I'd like to admit. Just a normal day in Scotland. Swanee says it's cold in the Pacific Northwest. Isn't it always, though? Is it ever hot there? I'm a unicorn. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. That was a special day. I miss my dad. I just moved from Milwaukee to San Antonio. Wow, that's a big move. I don't miss the snow at all. I'm from Michigan and I don't miss the snow. What's up, Sleuthy? I always want to call you Goosey, and you probably don't like that. Sleuthy. Thank you, Sleuthy, for keeping all these documents pinned at the top of your X. It has been so extremely helpful for many. Appreciate you a lot. Thanks, Roxy, as are you. Dental Lori, good morning. Ugh. Got tongue-tied there.
Ski, Utah.
Minus 10 in Germany. Wow. Hey, Mama Bear. Good morning. Mom interrupted. I'm with you. Juggling pumpkins. Love that. You're welcome. I don't miss the snow. I don't miss the cold. I don't miss the slushy roads and the salt on your car and boots and gloves and hats and scarves. And I don't miss all that. I don't miss all that at all. Walking outside and you breathe in. It's so cold. You're like, good morning, Flo. Call me whatever. Just don't call me Shirley, the fresh little girly. Sin, we can only listen to space sex when it happens, okay? It's not to be replayed over and over, you weirdo. Never seen snow and we are in Africa and sunburnt today. Well, it's warm here. I'm not going to lie. It's about 76. Can you guys hold on? I've got a call really quick. Hold on. Okay, so I told you guys that my bathroom was torn up, right? So we had a leak a couple years ago under the house. It shot up on the floor, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we took out the floor. This is like a DIY, okay? Because we're broke cooters. So we're doing DIY. We got this, or DIY. We got this fixer-upper in Florida, and we're doing the DIYs. So anyways, we got the floor pulled up. We got the subfloor put down, picked out the flooring. I painted the walls. I started all of it. So my husband says, don't worry. I'll finish the painting, right? So yesterday while I was live, we did a really long stream yesterday. He painted while I was live. Like, I don't know, maybe the last 2 hours in the afternoon. He got home, painted. I was like, cool. He'll probably get it done while I'm doing this. When I'm done, we'll be able to put the floor down. I go into the bathroom after my live. And I know he's not listening right now because he's at Home Depot. So I go into the bathroom, dude. I decided to paint the walls a dark gray. Okay, I had one wall that was like black. The rest were white walls. So I said the only wall I don't want painted is, behind the sink where the vanity or the mirror is. I said, I'm going to do something special there. So he says, okay. So he paints, and this is dark gray paint. He paints everything, even the cabinets on the vanity, y'all. The fucking doors on the sink. He painted those the same color as the wall. He painted the door to go into the bathroom on both sides. And I'm like, what are you doing? What is this? He's like, what are you talking about? You paint everything. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't paint the cabinets. So now I have to repaint the cabinets back to Sin. He does not have his earbuds in right now. I know he doesn't. Listen. So now I have to paint the cabinets back to black and paint my door back to black. Dude, he painted it all gray. Like, what? Fucking A. I was like, God, here I thought we were ahead of the game. Now I got more work, right? What was it? He's like, you didn't tell me that you had to take the knobs off and everything. I said, you don't have to take the knobs off. That's why I didn't tell you that. Because the things with knobs on them weren't supposed to be painted. Oh, Lord. So, yeah. So I told him I needed white paint. I needed black paint. So he's getting it. It'll all work out. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to bed. I couldn't believe the vanity even. So literal. Like everything is literal unless I tell otherwise. Hey, Jammers. Good morning. Oh, man. Right. Step by step. It's like if I have to give you step by step, I may as well just freaking do it. Oh, man. Jen Fisher, you look good in green, girl. I forced you into Cooterville. We kind of forced someone in. Jen Fisher was like, I'm thinking about becoming a member. And then I donated 5 Cooterships and she got one. And beans, ain't that the truth? Did I take a pic? No, I didn't even want to look at it because I was thinking about all the damn work I'd have to do. And blessed be, he didn't take the knob off the main door, so he painted on the frickin' door handle. Dude. Whew. Get beyond paint for the cabinets. What's that like? I'll send you a pic, Sin. Oh my God, Galen, for real. She's like, next time you're going to have to put Post-it notes on what needs to be painted and what doesn't. I just never have heard of such. Like, why would you ever paint doors like that? He did his best. Penny, you're right. Oh, it was just kind of funny. So anyways, that's my current situation. That's what I was going to explain. He turned my bathroom into an escape room. Yeah, the blues are mods. Those are your mods. He doesn't want to paint. The plan worked. Was he stoned? He might have smoked. I don't know. Ugh is an emotion. But anyways, all I know is that I'm better off than these two clowns up here. I already know that for a fact based on watching Jolene's review last night. Did y'all see them together? Did you see John's surfer do with the little waves in it? He's all like got a blonde hue. I can't wait till his roots start coming in. Kieran, yeah, he might have started a new trend. I don't know. He made more work for us, that's for sure. All he had to do was 2 little walls. And Sarah, thank you for your super chat. When Georgia Dog says, don't worry, we need to worry. Yay. Hey, Hawkeye, I hope you're feeling better. It goes a long way. Nice. Okay. Hey, Kylie. Good morning. Good to see you. Oh, there's Christina. Good morning, Christina. Is it cold in Utah? You ski in Utah?
Ski Utah.
She said, hi, I won't be in chat too much today, but I'll be listening. This will be interesting to listen to because people came to my comment section on 10/15, the day of the live, comparing me to that Kendra woman. Christina got compared. What? I did not know that. Dude, wait till his roots come in. You're freezing in Utah? Can you get roots with herpes? I think he got a new one. Oh my God, those comments didn't age well for those comments. Comparing you to Kendra. Kendra is a... That's insane. You know that was Grayson. That had to be Grayson comparing you to Kendra. He has a toupee. Yeah, I do think he has a toupee. Just like wigs, guys can get different colored toupees. You think it's his real hair? Calissa thinks it's real. Beans, come clean mine when you're done. Well, Christina, I hope you have a great day. And thank you for listening. And thank you for being in chat yesterday. It was nice having you here to fill in the blanks and just being here. And Mindy, it's nice to have you here as well as Mindy. Maybe hubby has heard you say Grayson so many times that he had all gray on the brain. That's funny as hell. Because it's so far from the truth that made the commenter look like an idiot. Oh, totally. I love you too, girl. You have a great day. Mindy Grayson. 50 Shades of Grayson. You think it's real? Eve says definitely a toupee. All right, you guys. So we are going to cover this video. I think this must have been a pre-record because it starts out really weird. It starts out with John just right out the gate talking. Christina says, Mindy, email me or DM me or ask a mutual friend for my number. I think Lauren is even jealous of Christina's feet, dude. Lauren wants to be Christina's socks. Oh, one more thing. I got my little turtle yesterday. I found out who it's from. It says, you're turtly awesome. A teeny turtle, which is also a cooter, is always here whenever you need a little cheer. Look at my little cooter guy. He's like, dee 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 dee. I didn't miss it, Angie. I'm going to read it. Dee 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 dee. Hey, Steph Contractor number 1. I got all my little crochet buddies. Thank you so much, Robat. You guys are so thoughtful. Kresha is in the house. What up, Kresh? Let me go back to our member milestones. We've got Angie B coming in hot with 19 months. Stay safe and warm, everyone.
Thank you for your support.
And we have Mom Interrupted with 3 months. New toupee, she says. Thank you guys for your support. We're gonna watch this. Also, just as an announcement, this weekend we're gonna watch the Elizabeth Smart documentary on Kick. So I will be posting that in Discord and in the community section here on YouTube. And the Cooter chat will be pinned to the top of the chat. I'm pinning it right now. Right meow. So if you want to send me a Cooter chat, chop me. Don't chop me. Good morning, Dream Feed. Don't chop me in my tracks. But you could stop me right in my tracks. You got something to say. You got something to say. There's no stopping the Cooter chat. Chat FOMO. I love it. I saw they were closing schools last night. I was like, whoa. Hey, Sushi and Dr. Vonda. Good to see y'all. Ann Pines is here. I guess we can start. The gang is all here. All the Cooters are here. Dental Lori, Janice. I haven't seen my LIZ yet. Maybe she's frozen. She might be frozen this morning. Oh, Blue Jay, 2 months. So happy I found your channel, Jay. I love it here. I love having you here. I love having you here. I'm looking for something. This is for all of us today. We're huddling together and staying warm.
Cooter undercover. Cooters, unite.
It's 80 here in South Florida. I know, Becca. It's hot here, too. I got my air on. Everybody's freezing. Schools are closed because of the cold, probably. Emmy Joe's here. Yay. We can start. Okay, so here we go. It starts out weird. John just starts rambling. Oh, we got 5 Cooter ships. Hold on.
Just help a brother
Scorpio, AZ, Paula, B Rabbit, Jasmina. Welcome to Cooterville. Come on in and close your legs this Friday. Listening at work in the Wheezy. I love that. The Louisiana. I can't believe that Christina was compared to Kendra. But anyways, see the pearls? See the pearls? Look, it's the same pearls as here. So this video right here is September 11th. So this would have been right after the whole CrimeCon plan. September the 11th.
Kendra can't see the complexity of this. She can't see. She understands at some unconscious level that her attraction to Owen is inappropriate, right? And not normal. She understands that society is not going to approve of that, I think. But what she can't do is she can't figure out a way to get Lauren out of this triangle.
I love how Lauren's name is in this. Look at her. Look at her. She's like, that's my name. Look at her. That's my name. I'm being stalked. I'm being catfished. God, I can't stand these two. And this diagram, like, what is this?
She makes it into this really unhealthy competition
Liz!
where, unfortunately for Lauren becomes kind of in the splitting, Lauren becomes kind of the bad person.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Mathias, and this is Dr. John Mathias, my co-host of Hidden True Crime, also a criminal psychologist, and I am a former broadcast reporter. Still a journalist, once a journalist, always a journalist. And we're here to break down what all of you have been requesting us to do. I mean, we're talking request after request after request every day, multiple requests a day for us to break down.
Oh, I was going to read you.
caller,
That's right.
The latest.
That's right. I was going to give you the breakdown. That's right. God, I got all out of order. So this is, they're covering the Netflix documentary called Unknown Number. It's the high school catfish documentary. The story follows an American teenager, Lauren Licari. She's a teenager. Her teenage boyfriend, Owen McKinney, who were persistently harassed by threatening, insulting texts from an unknown number for over 15 months starting in 2020. The plot is the messages specifically target Lauren's appearance and expressing sexual interest in Owen. And it led to a police investigation involving the FBI. The source of the harassment was discovered to be Lauren's mother, Kendra. So that's what this is about. Just a few days after CrimeCon. Grayson is a Kendra. Oh, I know, Flo.
Netflix documentary that has all of our heads spinning. by our friend Sky Borgman. Sky Borgman directed it. Well done, Sky. It's left us all
Well done, Sky.
kind of crazy. Spoiler alert. If you have not watched this documentary and you don't want to know how it ends, go watch it, come back, and here we are. So there will be some spoilers in this episode. And with that, I also want to say, babe, you look very dapper tonight. I can also say that because not only are you my co-host
Ew.
and a criminal
Oh, he's so uncomfortable. Dapper with his lipstick. You guys, you know what I noticed? I don't want to make you sick this Friday morning, but look at the chin. Look at the chin. Look at that hair under there. Bruh. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. Dapper my ass. I bet the dude can't, has no facial hair. I bet he can't grow a beard or nothing. Probably has very limited hair on his arms. And probably very limited hair on his face. But he gets that down here.
psychologist. You're also my husband. So don't worry, everyone. I can say that to you.
You look pretty dapper yourself. Look at the. Have I seen that necklace? I don't think I've seen that necklace. So
It's a
Oh no. Stop it. Oh my God. She want a pearl necklace. Who knows that ZZ Top song? I've never seen that necklace before. Is that a new pearl necklace? Who gave you that pearl necklace? Because that doesn't look like my pearl necklace. That looks like somebody else's pearl necklace. Oh, no.
for yourself. Look at the. Have I seen that necklace? I don't think I've seen that necklace. So
it's a sweater. So no.
it's a sweater.
You have
Okay,
it. It's a new one.
I haven't seen the sweater then.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. There was clearly some competition for me tonight.
He's never seen the sweater, but what date did she record this? What date was she recording this? Because this was the date of court. Remind me what date this was again. Look at this right here. I cannot. Hey, Donna. Good morning. Kylie. What was the date of this? Is this them flirting? Bleh, bleh, bleh.
My boys.
She's so dramatic.
With you looking so nice. So thank you.
Yeah, and so that's exactly what Kendra experienced.
Kendra Lakari.
Kendra, yeah.
There's really nothing funny about anything about this. I don't know why they're laughing. September 22nd. Ah, okay. So she wore this to court as well. Their foreplay. Let me add, we theorized it was filmed on September 22nd. Okay. Good morning, paper.
That's exactly one of the issues that Kendra Lakari
Has
struggled with, right, in explaining this particular crime.
Thanks,
certainly
Christina.
that's something we need to consider.
Christina
we'll
is
get
the
there. We won't get there
inspiration
right
for the
away,
metas.
I don't even know where we start. Do we start with the spoiler?
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the spoiler or do you want me to?
Why don't you start with the spoilers since people can take it out on you?
September 11th,
All right.
2025
Fair
is
enough.
this one.
So this movie is about a high school cyberbully who cyberbullied a girl, Lauren, relentlessly, not me, another Lauren with a Y, relentlessly, as well as her boyfriend, Owen, and other classmates for months and months and months, suggesting they self-harm, saying the most horrendous things you can imagine. Go watch the movie to understand all these horrendous things, or Dr. John will get in.
Whoa. Slow the fuck down, baby. Slow down. She just said a lot of things. Thank you, Flobo. Purple, loving the laundry, bite my bits,
brother,
Italia, and Dead of Night. Welcome to Cooterville. Come on in and close your legs. What'd she just say?
Just help a brother out
Suggesting
here.
they self-harm, saying the most horrendous things you can imagine. Go watch the movie to understand all these horrendous things, or Dr. John
Just
will
help a
get
brother
into
out here.
this.
Suggesting they self-harm, saying the most horrendous things you can imagine. Go watch the movie to understand all these horrendous things, or Dr. John will get into this. The principal got involved.
Hey,
The
Paula.
school got involved. Police got involved. And
I know, dude. I gotta speed her up. Like, it's like she goes, then she's like, oh.
and then the FBI got involved because it was this bad. And who was it behind the cyberbullying? Lauren's own mother.
Yeah,
Kendra.
Pink, they do just
There's your
clips.
spoiler. And everybody's saying, help us understand, Kendra. Why would a mother do this? So
Sushi,
I'm going to let you take
welcome
it away from
in.
there.
Thank you for joining.
There's a lot to unpack here. I think that is the fundamental question that everyone is asking us, and it's actually the fundamental question that the movie asks. So
He said X.
it's interesting that after Kendra's identity is revealed as the cyber stalker, nobody can believe it.
Did I ask them to do that?
People's first response to that is, I don't believe it. So Jill McKinney, who's Owen's mother, she says, I don't think it's her. Everybody seems to be in denial. And the reason they're in denial is because Kendra has been a high school coach for Lauren on multiple teams. She helps out at school a lot. Like, at least on the surface,
hit the
she
like
presents
button,
as
guys.
someone who doesn't seem to have a vicious bone in her body, or at least someone who seems to be helpful and interested in helping her daughter and helping the school. So she seems to she doesn't seem to be particularly antisocial, right? She
Right,
doesn't
kind of like Grayson. She's willing to step in, help out, and be a part of something. Kind of like Grayson.
she doesn't seem to fit the profile of someone who might engage
Thank
in
you,
this type of malicious
Angie.
activity.
Angie Lee gifted a membership to Angie B gifted a membership to Angie Lee, Carl, Wicked West, Salty, and Molly Moon. Welcome to Cooterville. Come on in and cross your skis.
Just
So
help a brother out.
without a doubt, that's the big question. The question is, why does Kendra Licari, who is Lauren Licari's mother, why does she engage in this type of really malicious behavior towards her own daughter?
Her
Right,
own
that's
daughter. Her
her own
own
daughter.
daughter.
Just help a brother out here.
And so the first half of this documentary raises the question of who.
Get
The first half
into
of this
it.
documentary is a who done it, and then the second half becomes a why done it, in terms of Sky's kind of she tries to tease out, Sky Borgman, the director, tries to tease out possible
Sky.
explanations
Like,
for
our
why
friend.
this crime, it's felony. It turns out to be there's 2 counts of stalking a minor that she's found guilty of, or she actually takes a plea deal, and she spends roughly a year and a half to 2 years in prison for that crime. So it's interesting. We'll talk about some of the theories. You know, one of the more interesting theories is put forth in the second half of the documentary by the principal, who essentially says he believes it's a case of cyber Munchausen's. So
Yeah.
just to correct that particular diagnosis, by the way, technically
hey, Keezy.
Munchausen's by proxy is no longer a diagnosis in the DSM. It would be factitious disorder imposed upon another.
What?
So I guess this would be cyber factitious disorder imposed upon another, according to him. And that's an interesting theory, because
It's where my mind went. Yeah.
okay. It's an interesting theory because clearly there's an attention-seeking component to this. And if you listen to
Oh,
Melissa
that
Perry,
tongue.
who is a cousin, one of Kendra's cousins, talk about Kendra when she was younger, one of the things she says about Kendra is she's very attention-seeking. In fact, she's talking to the interviewer, and she says, if we had Kendra in the room, if I was doing this interview and we had Kendra in the room right now, she would be dancing right next to it. She would be dancing over there trying to get her attention, because she couldn't handle the fact that you're interviewing me and not her, right? That she's not the center of attention. So Melissa Perry confirms that there's an
What?
attention-seeking component. So that particular theory
is
would
weird.
essentially mean that Kendra's engaging in the cyberbullying.
Look at her. She's like,
to
what are you even talking
get more
about?
attention from her daughter, Lauren, so that she can become closer to Lauren, right? That she's trying to push her closer to her through this really these vile texts and this really...
Ugh, you really think that mother was doing this to get closer to her daughter? I don't believe that. Hey, Turtle Time. Good to see you. Do you really believe that this Kendra did this? Because I watched it. Oh, Anders loves the tongue. Did you hear it that time? Blit? I really don't think she was doing it to get close to her daughter. I don't believe that at all. I think she's sick.
Through this really these vile texts and this really devious, I don't know, this really malignant type behavior.
Ooh, he laughs when he says devious. He loves the devious, nasty shit that has to do with minors. It's like I hate to say this, but it's almost like he thinks it's funny that this that this grown woman would be even saying she's attracted to a teenager, especially her teenage daughter's boyfriend. Screenshot that. Jen Fisher, we've got the best chat around.
Devious, I don't know, this really malignant type behavior.
Ugh.
And it really is bad, by the way. The cyber stalking here is just some of the texts are just unthinkable. I'll read
It's
some
horrendous.
of them a little later. It's horrendous.
It's why children why they would do the unthinkable. This is the type of cyberbullying we see in the news that has the most horrendous of results. It's horrendous what these texts say and when and how and what. Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting theory because it does appear that Kendra's very attention seeking, and people in her past, her cousin says that. It seems like that's a really predominant feature of her personality, and so that makes sense to a degree that she's engaging in the cyberbullying to upset her daughter, to traumatize her daughter, so that her daughter turns to her for comfort and attention, and actually would probably increase the dependency in the relationship, right? That makes a lot of sense. However, there's a big however here, and that is that Munchausen's by proxy.
Look at the caption. John. Look at the caption. Munchausen's. Oh, he makes me want to vomit. He's the best diet plan ever. My stomach is getting flatter the more that I review this mother effer.
Big however here, and that is that Munchausen's by proxy or infectious disorder imposed upon another often involves a third party. The part that's left out of that theory is that usually there's what we call triangulation going on, meaning that
she knows about that. Ooh, look at Mrs. Oldhands.
What we call triangulation going on, meaning that.
Ooh, Mrs. Oldhands. Hang on, I gotta move my fan. It's hot as hell in here. Not to rub it in or anything. But I couldn't feel the shit, and I need to feel it because it's getting hot in here. I don't know if it's hot in here because of John, and he makes me have a hot flash because he's so disgusting. But, ooh, okay.
Munchausen's occurs between typically a mother, a child, and hospital or health, healthcare professionals at the hospital. Typically a doctor.
Straight vodka.
You actually, with classic Munchausen, you actually have 3 people involved in that relationship. So the reason the mother engages in harming the child, let's say poisoning the child, if we're thinking about somebody like Lori Vallow, Daybell, is to get attention primarily from the healthcare providers that are taking care of the child. So by showing up over and over again and looking like the hero or the heroic caretaker that's saving the child from this false illness, the attention comes from the third party. It also might
Okay.
come from the child to some degree. But I think a lot of children that are victims of Munchausen's,
No.
they have a lot of mixed emotions about it because they sometimes sense that things aren't right, that something is going on that doesn't fit, that somebody might be harming them, right? There's this intuition, I think. And so it's not like the children of Munchausen's, some do, some don't, but it's not like they will gravitate towards the abuser for attention all the time. They might do that to some degree, but one of their primary motives really is to get attention from a third party.
He's horrible.
It's to get attention from healthcare providers, to be seen as heroic to them, maybe to a lesser degree to their own kids, but they know they're harming their kids, right? At some level, if you look at classic Munchausen's, the caregiver who's poisoning the children, let's say, for example, they know they're doing that. So it's hard for them to feel heroic about it towards their own kids when they know that they're harming their kids, right? At some level, they know that's not heroic, but they can go into the healthcare providers and feel more heroic because they're not poisoning the doctors, right? Like to them, they can feel it's a different role for them to.
Oh, he's so scary, you guys. He scares me. Why does he look at us like this? And why is he talking always about being heroic? Is that because he's wearing underoos? Batman underoos? You know what he probably has? He probably has, remember those sleepers? My kids had one. I remember my boys had one. They were like the sleepers they didn't have the feet. Without the feet. It's Batman. They lifted their little arms and there was like a netting there. I bet you when John lifts his arms up, he's got netting right there. Dual purpose netting. Airs out the pits and gives them the bat arms.
Occupy. And it's a role where they're getting attention for being heroic to a third party. And I think that's going to set the stage for our analysis because there is a third party. There's a couple of third parties in here.
Oh, an ad.
In true crime, there's always a mystery to solve. But here is one mystery I
Look, she's wearing my crocheted blanket. What is this for? I
don't
wonder.
have to wrestle with anymore. What wine to buy? I used to stand
Wine? Red wine. God, that was kind of a eerie preface, wasn't it? She's selling boxes of wine, cases of wine. Let's do it,
in the
lady.
store staring at that wall of bottles like I was cross-examining a witness, totally overwhelmed. Then I found Naked Wines. This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. It's a wine club that cuts out the middleman and connects you directly to independent winemakers around the world. That means world-class bottles delivered straight to your door at up to 60% less than what you would pay in stores. The other night, my friends and I opened a bottle of Naked Wines Cabernet. It was the perfect way to debrief after a very, very long day. The quality is incredible, and honestly, each shipment feels like uncovering new evidence better and better every time. Now it's your turn.
Look at it. It's the orange couch, too. She recorded this commercial at Grayson's. Her top. That'd be cute if it was made into a macrame and was hanging on my wall.
Incredible. And honestly, each shipment feels like uncovering new evidence better and better every time. Now it's your turn. Head to nakedwines.com.
But wait a minute.
Feels like uncovering
I guess the eyebrows are still ski Utah brows.
new evidence better and better every time. Now it's your turn. Head to nakedwines.com/hidden. Click enter voucher and use my code hidden for both the code and the password. You'll get 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles. Don't let this deal be the one that got away. Go to nakedwines.com/hidden and use code hidden today. Cheers.
So actually, we have a little diagram if we can put that up.
Yes.
Naked wine.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So
I would like to take credit for the art on this one. Who needs Canva when you have Sharpies? Here you go.
Yeah.
That's me.
So
That's my work.
this is I can't take credit for this. This is Lauren's handiwork, and I just want to point out how she spelled Kendra. You can see how Kendra's kind of off-centered. And I asked her, it's kind of wonky. That was the term I used. Look at Kendra, it's wonky. I asked Lauren, I said, did you spell Kendra like that because she is wonky? Or was that just a mistake? Like, I wasn't clear if she was like trying to mimic the psychological profile of Kendra.
What? Did you write her name wonky because she's wonky? So is that what you call your patients, sir, that have mental illnesses? Do you call them wonky? You're a motherfucker. I don't like this guy at all. The more I watch him, the more I hate him. How dare you sit there and call someone who clearly has a mental illness wonky? Wonky. Who the fuck would ever want to sit down on a sofa with you? Oh, I think you're a little wonky. It's kind of like Duty Ron and his cop duties. It gave me the ick. Oh, great. Great detective work there, Duty. So now we got him. He's wonky. Fuck you, John.
We'll say it's on purpose, but honestly, I was just trying to
So
squish it so that I
rude.
could fit it in a circle because you said the females have to be in circles. And I thought, how do I get Kendra to be a circle and not so much an oval that was squishing it? So, but yeah, wonky. It was totally on purpose, wonky. But yes.
Yeah, it's wonky. So you know,
He's so rude,
you
dude.
inadvertently by spelling Kendra a little wonky, you kind of mimicked her psychological profile.
That I did. There you go.
So, but let's
Wait,
so
hold on.
I'm talking about how
Let me see if they have this damn diagram up the whole time. Oh, they don't. Okay.
Munchausen's by proxy often involves a third party. So I think if we want to really understand what's going on here, we need to bring in a third party. So this isn't just a relationship between Kendra and Lauren. We might say that that's the primary relationship, but there's two other parties involved here. So you see Owen. Owen is the boyfriend. Owen's name is Owen McKenney. He meets Lauren in high school when they're 12. They start a relationship when they're 13. And then somewhere at the age of 13, that's when these texts start. And when they start, Owen and Lauren have already been dating. They're in a relationship. They're well known at the school. People at the school refer to their relationship, quote, as the golden relationship, unquote. Some people refer to the relationship as the forever relationship. So people at the high school are seeing this as a very healthy, positive relationship. They see this as a relationship that they apparently think is going to last and has a lot of staying power. So that's important because Owen is going to play a big role in this. When we talk
Dude.
about
They're literally 12 and 13-year-old kids that go to a small high school in rural upper Michigan. Okay? The pickings are slim. Everybody knows each other. I went to a school similar to this. Everything he's saying is just bullshit. Okay? Bullshit. God, I can't stand
with
him.
Munchausen's by proxy, when I talk about healthcare providers kind of being the third wheel or the third leg of the triangle, Owen becomes that part of this triangle.
Okay.
So and I'll explain all this, but
Puff,
so we
puff,
have
pass.
to, you can see attention-seeking behavior for sure in terms of getting Lauren to maybe move closer to Kendra through the bullying. But let's actually look at some of the history of this. And so and I'll explain the chart in a little more detail in a little bit. For our purposes, however,
I think we got a cooter chat.
Red heart emoji, 2 hearts emoji.
Aw, thank you, newspaper, 1993 paper. I almost called you newspaper. Thank you for your $5 cooter chat.
if you look at Lauren and Owen, so the circle around Lauren means that's for females, the box, the square, that's males. The green lines refer to a relationship that's overly close, or psychologists or mental health providers, family therapists, typically we use the term enmeshed. Enmeshed means there's some degree of dependency. There's some degree of a relationship that's overly close. So the green lines in this diagram represent what I would describe as an overly close relationship, that there's a lot of dependency going on. I drew a circle. So there's two circles. There's Lauren and Owen. So I drew is it red or orange? I had you draw the
orange. That one's orange.
I had you draw the orange circle around them. That means there's an alliance there. That means those.
Oh, this is great. There's an alliance between Lauren and Owen. They're both kids in school who like each other and are dating.
Two are aligned in some sense, kind of aligned against the world. Let's think of it that way. And then I drew I had you draw the blue circle around Kendra and Lauren, showing that at least for Kendra, and probably for Lauren too, that they too have a bit of an alliance. They too kind of see their relationship as set apart.
They have an alliance. They're mother and daughter, yawn. Kendra and Lauren are mother and daughter. Oh my God.
So another interesting thing about this diagram is you can see Sean up there in the right. Sean's kind of the lone wolf, right? He's
Right.
there's
Did he say I drew? What a lying liar who lies.
not a lot of lines going on with Sean. Like he's sort of disconnected from this whole fiasco. And I'll explain the importance of that too. You can see that between Kendra and Sean, there's a red squiggly line. The red line means there's conflict.
Such liars, dude.
Okay.
The red line means that there's probably some conflict.
There's conflict. Look at that. Oh my God, that's so technological and so deep.
Like there's probably some hostility in the relationship. It means that the relationship isn't necessarily super close. And I'm speculating on that, by the way, and I'll talk about more why I think that's the case. I could be wrong. So
You're
let me just
always
point
wrong. Everything
quickly,
you say
let me
is
give you
wrong.
a disclaimer here, which is I have limited information about this family and about all of these individuals.
You
I
don't
would
know
need to
anything
interview
about
them.
them. Shut up.
And I would need to learn a lot more about these families to give you a really in-depth analysis.
An in-depth. I would need to know more about these people to give you an in-depth analysis. But hold on while I give you an in-depth analysis.
So this is speculative.
Melissa.
There's a lot of uncertainty here. I'm just trying to develop some hypotheses based on my knowledge in this field, based on research in this field, based upon what mental health providers would more than likely kind of see in this situation. So, but it is speculative.
Everything you do is speculative.
So you have
Jerk off.
You have this alliance between Lauren and Owen and between Kendra
Jammers?
and Lauren. And
Right.
let's start with, I'm going to start with, so in Halloween of October of 2020, there's a party.
Halloween.
There's a high school party. And Lauren and Owen are dating at this point, and that's when these texts start. So
Hey,
I'm gonna read
Crispy.
this is one of the first texts. This is the first text that occurred. So I think it was after the party, maybe the day after the party. That's when all this begins. That's when the cyber bullying and stalking begins. Here's the first text. Owen is breaking up with you. It's obvious he wants me. So there are other texts around that. Here's another text from that time. Quote, "You are the ugliest person I have ever seen." There's a lot of text in here. So this goes on for a year.
Look
and
at
a
her
half.
shaking
There's
her
a lot
head.
of texts about
Oh my
physical
God.
appearance, by the way.
There's a lot of texts that Lauren wrote that are much worse than this.
There's so many texts about physical appearance. So we're going to learn, or we can infer from that physical appearance is a big part of this story.
Right.
And we'll get to that too. But the reason I'm going to read some of these initial texts is because it's really going to set the storyline. It's really going to give us the narrative. So the first text that's sent is about Owen, right? It's not about Lauren.
No.
It's not about the
Right.
relationship between Kendra and Lauren. It's about Owen. Owen is breaking up with you. It's obvious he wants me. Then the text stopped for almost 11 months. They start up again in September of 2021. Here's one of the first messages that shows up again. Preparing for the end of the golden relationship, ? Owen loves me, and I will always be the girl he loves. That's where it picks up in September of 2021. So, right? So if you look at some of these first texts, the absolute
Good
first text in
question,
October of
Walila.
2020, and then the text later in September of 2021, those
Lalila says, if he really had the credentials he claims to have, how has he not been given consequences for this shit by some authority? That's a good question. And Dreamfeed Media, you've done a great job exposing hidden true crime. Thank you so much, girl. She said, I resent how much these people anger me. I don't like having these ugly feelings towards people, but they bring out a rage I never thought I have. Ginny Quilted said he's so excited about this. Gross. Yes, and we know what this leads to. This mother eventually tells this Owen that she wants to do sexual things to him. It's really friggin' gross. Hey, Unsolved Amy. Good to see you.
are about Owen. And those are about the relationship. And so this person who we know is Kendra is basically saying that, she actually says early on in this documentary that one of her goals was to break up the relationship. But we don't know, we clearly don't know at this point who this is. And so, but we know that the person perceives Owen as being in love with them, and she wants this relationship to end. Now,
I agree, Becca.
these messages, this cyberbullying becomes so bad that Owen essentially can't take it, and it creates a lot of conflict in their relationship, Lauren and Owen's relationship, and they break up. So here's another component to this story. So we learned from these initial texts that Owen is a key component of this. We know that the the person sending the message is Kendra, has this apparent infatuation with Owen. And then, as if that's not enough evidence, much later in this story, Owen starts dating someone from another part of Michigan.
Right.
And
as in Lauren is long gone.
Lauren is long gone.
They've been broken
right.
up for years, and he's starting to date another girl from another part of the state.
So he starts.
Hey, if you guys are just joining, they are breaking down the Netflix documentary Unknown Number, where the mother was the texter texting her daughter and her boyfriend, who were teenagers, tormenting them.
Starts dating someone else from another part of the state, and lo and behold, very early in the relationship, this girl's mother receives a text message from the same number, from the same person that's been stalking Owen and Lauren. And I don't have the texts. You can see them in the documentary. I think they show a few of them, but essentially Kendra says to the mother, starts threatening Owen and saying the same type of things, that Owen needs to leave the relationship because she doesn't love him, that the girlfriend doesn't love him, and that she's the right person for him. So now we're getting to the point where this
really all he had to say was that Owen and Lauren were dating. They were teenagers. The mom was doing these weird messages, but they didn't know. They broke up because of these weird messages, and Owen started dating someone else. So then Kendra, the mother, started texting him about this new person.
Has nothing to do with Lauren.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the point where you can, if you're going to go
Look
with
at her.
this theory that this is somehow mooch hustle.
She's literally putting this in her own situation, in her own effed up mind. We already know she's delusional. She's so delusional that she thinks every post is about her. She thinks every text is about her. She thinks every Facebook thing is about her. Now she thinks this fucking documentary is about her or compares to her. It's weird.
By proxy, this shatters that theory, because here we are a year and a half later. Owen's moved on for quite some time. He's in a new relationship, and here we have Kendra trying to ruin that relationship as well, and showing the same feelings for Owen.
Yeah, has nothing to do with Lauren.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, has nothing to do with Lauren.
Right, exactly. And so that really starts moving us away from this whole Munchausen's by proxy theory, because that theory is based on the fact that the bullying occurs with Lauren to bring Lauren closer to Kendra. But now we're seeing that, in fact, that's not the case. It is partially the case. It was the case. But here we have the stalker, Kendra, essentially trying to pursue Owen, trying to ruin his relationship without any impact on Lauren.
Yeah.
And we later on in this documentary, again, more spoiler alert. I guess our whole show's a spoiler alert, but Jill McKinney, who's Owen's mother, she says essentially that she believed that Kendra was obsessed with Owen, that he wanted a relationship with Owen, and that even after they broke,
that Kendra was obsessed with Owen, that he wanted her. Kendra's a woman, John.
Relationship with Owen.
Hey, Tudis.
And that even after they broke up, that Kendra would flirt with Owen, that she would text with Owen. Again, this is after the breakup. That, you ready for this? Is that Kendra would attend all of his sporting events. Even though Lauren is not in a relationship with him, he notices, this family, the McKennies notice that Kendra is attending all his sporting events.
You need some red flags on this. You need some red flags on this chart.
Yeah, kind of like we need some red flags about the ping video, right? All of a sudden, she's going out and he's her cameraman. Oh, but he's friends with you, John, right? John, Hobbs ain't your friend, dude. Ain't your friend. Maybe to your face.
I could have added those if you'd asked.
They laugh about red flags. That's funny. That's so funny.
You need some red flags on this chart. I could have added those if you'd asked. Yeah.
So And also Owen, by the way. So Owen is noticing this too, by the way. So here's Owen says.
You think?
Owen says in the documentary,
He's noticing it.
He believed that Kendra was attracted to him. He said she was attracted to me, and then he said, not in the same sentence, but he said she was attracted to me. It was too weird. Like even Owen is like picking up on the fact that this is kind of weird, right? Like what is going on here?
Okay.
So the question, obviously, I'm sure this is the question everyone's going to ask. Let's go back to the chart really quickly. So notice I have the 3 lines between Kendra and Owen.
I have.
Yes. So the 3 lines, as I said earlier, that kind of represents a relationship where there's dependency or overly close or enmeshment. Since Kendra and Owen didn't really have a relationship, obviously, this represents Kendra's fantasy. This is a fantasy that Kendra's having about being close with Owen, about being in a relationship with him. So the 3 lines here essentially are the same lines I would draw between Lauren and Owen, meaning that when Lauren and Owen first started dating, it was first love. They were really close, right? Like any first love, they were kind of a match.
Now, mind you, this Kendra lady is a sick person. And Christina said that on the day of the 9-hour live, people were commenting on her TikTok, calling her or comparing her to Kendra. Thank you, Flo, for your super chat. Is Lauren hobnobbing? Yes.
They were inseparable. They were the golden couple. So that makes sense for them. With Kendra and Lauren, you see the 3 lines. They too were very close. They too were very enmeshed. They too had some dependency. How do I know that? Because after Lauren learns that her mother is the stalker, she basically says, I don't believe it.
And she needs her still, desperately.
Right. She says this. So she says, in reflecting on this issue, she says, why would my mom do, quote, why would my mom do this?
Hey, Deborah.
Did she really actually do this? Question mark. I can't believe it. Honestly, I'm just really confused. Right. So Lauren struggles with this. I know people are saying, well, how can Lauren still feel close to her mother? And that's one of the things you see here. How could she still feel so connected to her mother in spite of what her mother did? And the answer is those 3 lines explain it, that there's some enmeshment there. There's been enmeshment from early on with Lauren, that in many ways, Kendra has developed some dependency on Lauren and vice versa. Let's say it's codependency. And so when you have that type of codependency, it's very hard to shake it. It's very hard to, in spite of abuse, I see this all the time with children that are abused, they still feel connected to their abuser. And it's because many abusers go out of their way to develop overly dependent relationships so that the victims never leave them.
Yeah.
He always has to bring some kind of child abuse into this.
So that's what's going on here. That's why Lauren will not turn on her mother. That's why Lauren wants to, she says, I need my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you see that with a lot of victims of abuse. They still feel.
Thank you so much for your super chat, Blue Jay. Cruella's head looks like Wilson in Cast.
That connection, in spite of the fact that they've been horribly
Thank you for your
abused,
super
they still
chat.
feel that connection. It's so hard to shake. And so I based upon that, I think it's fair to say that you have this dependency between Kendra and Lauren. With Owen, however, that dependency exists in fantasy. And so let's try to figure out why Owen.
I don't get it.
Right. Let's try to figure out why Owen. What is this obsession with Owen? And let's go back. Okay. So thank you. You pulled the chart up. So
whoa, this is weird.
Let's get into family dynamics. So we don't know I don't know a huge amount of family dynamics, but there's some nuggets in this film that really help us understand some of the dynamics that are going on in the Licari family. We know that obviously Lauren is an only child, so that's important, right? That Lauren is going to get a lot of attention no matter what. We learn that, notice I have the red line between Kendra and Sean, meaning conflict. So here's a little nugget that if you're paying attention to this documentary, you'll pick up that after Sean learns that it's Kendra who is the stalker, he says, quote, first of all, he asked Kendra to leave. He's like, you got to leave this house. You got to leave this house now. And Kendra's like, I can't leave. I need to be with Lauren. Also the codependency, right? Like,
right.
Tracy.
The police just revealed to her daughter, Lauren, that her mother was the stalker and she can't stop hugging her.
Right.
Right. Like a normal reaction, maybe a normal reaction in a healthy relationship would be that the victim would probably run away and say, don't touch me. Like, please get away from me.
Oh, so he's saying Lauren's not normal. No, John, actually, you're wrong. Kids, even abused kids, still love their parents. They still want to be with their parents, their children. We rely on our parents as children, John. You are a fucking loon.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
I can't believe he just said a normal reaction.
Right. Like a normal reaction, maybe a normal reaction in a healthy relationship would be that the victim would probably run away and say, "Don't touch me." Like,
how is it a normal reaction? How would this ever happen in a healthy relationship, John? In what healthy relationship is your mom texting your teenage boyfriend? The fuck? Dude, I'd love to see him like this, getting arrested or something. Hands up. Can't stand him.
in a healthy relationship would be that the victim would probably run away and say, "Don't touch me." Like, please get away from me. I hate you right now. Right. Like, that's a normal reaction. Lauren is sitting in the chair. Her mother is hugging her. Her mother won't let her go. That's not a normal reaction. That's the
Dude, you're not dealing with a normal situation. What are you talking about? You can't have a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. He is disgusting.
dependency. But Sean, when Sean learns, he says, "Kendra, you got to go. I can't do this anymore. You got to go." He says, quote, "If I blow a gasket when they leave," meaning the police, "if I blow a gasket when the police leave, I'll probably go to jail." So that statement says a lot. I know it's one sentence in this documentary and I could be completely wrong about it, but basically what he's saying in that statement is there's obviously the implicit threat of violence. If they don't leave and I lose my cool, I'm going to go to jail because I'm probably going to hit you. And let me qualify this because I don't know. I mean,
huh? Wow, John. He's really reading into this.
Statement is there's obviously the implicit
Yes,
threat
he is, Eddie.
of violence. If they don't leave and I lose my cool, I'm going to go to jail because I'm probably going to hit you. And let me qualify this because I don't know. I mean, that's what the statement says. And in fairness to Sean, there may not have been a history of conflict. I don't know, but
wow.
I think making a statement like that kind of shows the potential for conflict.
This guy, he is terrible.
It shows that this is how he's solving this problem. Instead of trying to communicate with Kendra, he's sending her out of the house, and he's saying this in front of the police. Keep this in mind. He's saying this.
Dude, the guy was so calm and kept it together for his daughter. John.
In front of the police, he's saying,
ugh. He's really feeling himself, too.
"I'm going to blow a gasket."
You think?
"When you guys leave, I'm going to blow a gasket and I'm going to go to jail because I'm going to get violent with her," right? Like, that's what he's saying, essentially.
No, that's not what he
He's
said.
also upset that he found out that she lost her job and was lying about her job and all the debt collectors that were coming and not doing their house payment.
But that was a little bit later. That's correct. And I'll talk about that too. So, but my point is, if you look at that one statement and you draw some inferences from it, and again, I'm qualifying this. Sean seems like a nice guy. You know, he doesn't see, but you know, I don't know what somebody's capable of, right? We all learn from hidden true crime. We don't know what's hidden in human beings.
Oh
so,
my God.
but I can say from this.
Wow. Why is he shaming the husband? The husband didn't do fucking anything. The husband is an innocent victim in all of this. Why are you even bringing this up? John.
Statement that what we can see from the statement is that his way of solving this problem is not through emotional intelligence or normal channels of communication. It's his concern that he's going to blow a gasket and go to jail. It seems reasonable to say based on that. I'm not saying there's been any physical violence or domestic violence previously. I don't know that. Maybe there has been. I don't know for sure, but But what I am saying is that there's conflict. That I think that the way this couple is communicating and solving problems shows
Of course there's fucking conflict. That's the whole reason for the documentary. Oh my God.
That some type of atypical communication is going on. It could be emotional. It could be it could be psychological.
You
so
make
I
no
don't know if
sense.
it's physical. He's certainly implying physical here, but that's the larger point is that I think this marriage is not ideal. And let's get back.
You would know.
Let's talk about what you just said. The 10 years. So Melissa Perry, the cousin, also says, I
Melissa
think that
Perry?
Kendra's been
Who's
lying.
that?
So she's lied about all her jobs. She hasn't had a job for several years. She's lied about. She gets up every day and pretends she has a job that she's
kind
she
of like
doesn't
you,
have. She
John.
never had.
You pretend.
So she's lying about everything. She's lying about working, her employment. She's lying about finances.
Wow.
Right. That too
Lying about finances.
tells us a lot about this family. That tells us about family
Spanx.
dynamics and how they're communicating. For whatever reasons, and again, I don't know if this has anything to do with abuse. Probably not. But let's just say, for whatever reasons, Kendra feels like she can't tell the truth to Sean.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's labeled the
Kendra
husband
feels
as
that-
abusive.
That she can't communicate honestly with her husband. And that too tells me that this couple is not communicating well. This couple is not solving problems well, right? There's a lot of inferences we can make about this marriage. that
There sure
perhaps
is.
this marriage has not been ideal. Perhaps this marriage has had some problems. I think at a minimum, I can say that this is a family. This is a home that's filled with secrets and lies.
Oh,
It's filled with no real
like yours.
open, authentic, emotional communication. There's
Wow, are they talking about themselves?
real that I think I can say there's probably a limited emotional connection going on in this marriage. And on that issue, by the way, earlier in this documentary, several of Lauren's closest friends say, quote, Lauren, so we're talking about Lauren here, not the couple, not the marriage, not the spouses, quote, Lauren
He's
never
all
showed
over the
any
place.
emotions. And she only talked about sports. She was always to herself, meaning she always kept to herself. And one of the friends said, she never talked to me about the most important things. She was a quiet person, right? That's interesting in the sense that that's consistent with the family dynamic where there's no communication. There's no emotional intelligence in this family, or I should say limited. No communication. There's no emotional intelligence in this family.
Wow. Wow, Mr. Big fucking talker. No emotional intelligence in this family. Who in the fuck are you to make that assumption based on a documentary? I think the dad handled it just fine. I think a lot of men would have lost their shit right then and there. Who the fuck is this guy, man? God, he's just like evil, dude. Look at his eyes, if you dare.
Where there's no communication, there's no emotional intelligence in this family, or I should say limited. I don't want to say no, but her friends are also seeing someone who is quiet and isolated and struggles to communicate things that matter to her, things that are emotional, things that are important. Lauren struggles with that. And that makes sense, right? If you think of the parents as setting the tone in that home and modeling good communication, good problem solving, good emotional intelligence, right? That's not happening. So it's not only showing up in the marriage, it's also showing up in Lauren.
Yeah. She showed very little emotion in her interviews.
Yes.
She had a very flat affect the entire time. I thought, depression or, just, yeah.
Exactly. And so if we take all those pieces, and I know those aren't, I'm sure if I were to interview this family, I'd get a lot more information. So I'm just taking some little nuggets and I'm making inferences. And again, I'm going to qualify. I could be wrong here.
You're always
I
wrong.
think this is allowing me to develop some
Salty.
hypotheses about what's going on. So
he's switching all over the place.
If we see this family, and especially the spouses, the couple, as having problems with communication, engaged in some conflict,
he is
now we can start
insufferable.
making more sense of why Owen is pulled into this drama. So if you put up the diagram again, when you see typically a lot of times when couples have significant problems or conflict,
you're right, moderator.
Sometimes or oftentimes one member or both members of the couple will seek intimacy or perceived intimacy elsewhere. So that may be through another child like Lauren. It may be through someone outside of the family like Owen. And so what you have here is you have Lauren, and Lauren
We're back
is
on the graph.
maturing. She's reached puberty. She's dating. So you have this outsider Owen, who's now in some ways coming into the family system. He's coming in as an outsider, but he's still entering the family system because Lauren is an only child.
Yeah.
And when that happens,
You're
Kendra,
so off base.
I believe Kendra starts developing these fantasies about Owen, and she starts developing these fantasies about what a relationship with Owen would be like.
Oh God, this is the part he couldn't wait for. The fantasies that this grown-ass woman had about a teenager. He's about to have what we heard in the space sex yesterday. Oh my God. He just couldn't wait to talk about this. She starts developing these fantasies about what a relationship with Owen would be like.
And she starts, because she's not connecting to Sean, and because maybe she hasn't connected to Sean for many years, she needs that fantasy to sustain the illusion that she is significant and that she matters and that she's a good spouse. She's not working. She's lying about it, right? So she feels in some ways she feels worthless. Here, by the way, is a text she sent. This is one of her texts early on to Lauren and Owen. She says, quote, "You are worthless and you mean nothing and you never have." That's total projection.
Fascinating. Okay.
Right? When she says, "You are the ugliest person I have ever seen," projection. We'll get into that a little bit more. But like, one of the things about projection is that people that tend to have kind of what I would say limited interior lives, selves that are not particularly complex, they're more prone to projection because they don't have the complexity to really sort out what matters to them, and they're not able to kind of prioritize what's important. So a lot of times you'll get some part of them that they're unaware of that they'll just put out there onto other people to feel better about themselves.
Interesting.
God, he sounds like he's describing her, and it's kind of fucking scaring me.
So you have this conflict in the marriage. You have Owen coming into the family system.
Oh, God.
Owen too is.
Oh God, I just read ahead in the transcript. Y'all. He never ceases to disappoint on bringing up the grossest things. Were you with me when we watched BuzzFeed the other day? All the clips. How he brought up puberty and masturbation. Thank you, Salty, for your super sticker. Yeah, it gets worse.
Is like Lauren. He's 13. He's in puberty, right? She sees him as a maturing male, right? She starts seeing him as maybe a suitor of sorts or and even though it's in fantasy, that's how she sees it. She sees Owen as a cure, as a panacea to all of her marital problems. She sees Owen as a way to get out of this conflict. In fact, Kendra has some insight into this later.
Maybe even fantasize about youth too, a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Kendra says in the documentary, Kendra actually has some moments of insight. She says, "It was an escape. It took me out of my real life."
He's normalizing this shit. You're exactly right. He is normalizing this grown woman and a 13-year-old boy.
Right? Like, yeah, that's true. Like, this relationship.
Oh my God, they're going to bring the diagram.
Purely on fantasy. If you go back to the diagram, you'll see also. So with Kendra and Lauren, I also drew a red line, meaning that there's conflict. Yeah. There's conflict between Kendra and Lauren in the sense that because she's fantasizing about Owen, she begins to see Lauren as competition.
Okay. There you go.
She begins to as a threat, right? She sees Lauren as a threat to Owen. If she's going to have Owen and she's going to live in this fantasy that Owen loves her and wants her and has to be with her, then obviously Kendra has to be removed. And Kendra has to, has to be removed from the picture. Otherwise, I mean, Lauren has to be removed from the picture, and the relationship has to fail, so that then Kendra can perpetuate this fantasy of true love, and right. And so you have, that's another really interesting part of this analysis, is when you have those green lines and the red line next to each other, you have a situation where it becomes like an approach avoidance situation. So the dependency
Kendra and Lauren have both the green lines and the red squigglies. That's what we're referring to.
Squigglies. Look at him. He's like, they are not squigglies. That is conflict. Look at him. You just called my conflict line squiggly.
Approach avoidance.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's primarily, by the way, this is primarily one directional from Kendra to Lauren. Lauren and Kendra have this dependency with each other, the green lines, but Kendra has conflict with Lauren more in terms of seeing Owen as like a viable romantic partner. And a lot of these texts, by the way, I can't read. A lot of them were super sexual.
Yeah, they were.
And so if you want to see,
is it just me, but a guy who allegedly does PDF evaluations just said super sexual? Hey, Ark.
seeing Owen as like a viable romantic partner. And a lot of these texts, by the way, I can't read. A lot of them were super sexual.
Yeah, they were.
And so if you want to see just how much she's fantasizing about this romance, this perceived romance with Owen, you just have to, the
romance, dude. It's a PDF. It's a PDF situation. Except she's a female. He's the victim. He's a fucking victim. This kid was preyed on by an adult female, dude. He just said romance. God, he's disgusting.
About this romance, this perceived romance with Owen. You just have to, the documentary plays a lot of them. I'm not going to repeat some here. I have some written down, but I'm not going to repeat them. It's sufficient to know that Owen is the object of Kendra's sexual desire. So this isn't just a fantasy about resolving all of her marital problems and finding her happy ever after. This is more than that. This is also that she desires him sexually.
Holy fuck. I feel like he's okaying this because Owen's a male. Because he's a male teenager. Like, John still has that mindset. Like, if you're 13 and you fuck the babysitter who's in her 20s, it's cool. Or you fuck the lady down the street that's a single mom and she'll fuck the boys. I knew someone like that. There were boys that I knew that went to this one lady's house. But why is he acting like this would have been a normal situation if it wasn't involving the daughter? Like, the only thing he's making abnormal is that this was Lauren's boyfriend. Her daughter's boyfriend. Like, in other words, if it wasn't her daughter's boyfriend, it's romance, it's sexual, it's a fantasy. No, it's a fucking crime, right? Hey, Colette. Expert of experts.
Wow.
You have the sexual component. And so in that sense, Lauren becomes this competition.
I'm going to throw up.
Wow.
And I think in order to understand this dynamic, I think we need to back up a little bit and talk about some defense mechanisms. So a defense mechanism is a way of coping with the world, so that we can. It's a way to avoid reality to some extent, so that we can function in the world, so we can cope with the world. So, like, one of the most common defense mechanisms that people would know is denial. That right. if something,
and he's licking his lips nonstop. Mom interrupted. Thank you for your super chat. She's like, a doctor who supposedly evaluates sex offenders calling pedophilia a romantic interest. I can't with this guy anymore. Either, dude. It's sick. Children can't consent, you asshole. Right? Just me. Thank you for your super chat, Mom.
The most common defense mechanisms that people would know is denial. That
Right.
if something is overwhelmingly difficult to hear or to process, we deny it. And so an example of that from this documentary is that when Kendra's confronted about how this all started, she said that she didn't start the texts. She tells police, well, I didn't start this. So in October of 2020, she wants us to believe that somebody else began the text threads. There was someone else who started the text threads and started the stalking. And this is what she says, that she became involved because she essentially wanted to flush out the stalker. She wanted to find the stalker's identity. That's why she picked up the text thread in September of 2021. That's her argument. That's denial. How do I know that's denial? Because the reality is that the FBI has the evidence showing that the very first text ever sent
I'll give you guys
came
the
from
link.
Kendra.
Okay.
Kendra is unable to accept the fact that she started all of this. She started the stalking, right? So that's denial. That's her unwillingness and inability to accept the reality that she was the stalker from start to finish.
Yeah.
And that she did this. There was no one else. But that's her story, right? So that's denial. But I think if we're really going to understand this a little deeper, we have to understand a defense mechanism called splitting. And so if we think one way to, let me see, it's kind of, one way to think of splitting is splitting occur. I'm going to reference
split
a
personalities?
psychoanalyst. Her name is Melanie Klein. She's brilliant psychoanalyst, now deceased.
Why is he
I
so
think she passed away
red?
in like 1960, but I would consider her to be one of the most influential post-Freudian psychoanalysts. And
Ugh.
she had this theory that infants, young
Oh, God, no. He's bringing in some Freudian shit. Okay, listen. She died in the 60s. Dude, look how... Sin. I don't know. He's red as fuck. He's getting all excited.
I think she passed away in like 1960, but I would consider her to be one of the most influential post-Freudian psychoanalysts. And she had this theory that infants, young infants, less than 2 years old, often less than 1 year old, they occupied different positions. She called them positions. And the first position was what she called the paranoid schizoid position. And typically that would occur between between birth and like 8 months. And if you think about a child being born, essentially that child in those very first days of existence, that child does not know how to make a distinction between themselves and the world. So everything to that child is that it's what I would call all me, right? The child, everything in that child's existence is them. It's complete narcissism.
Yeah.
Every sensation, every hunger pain, right? Everything that child experiences.
Ew, he's so gross. Babies are narcissists.
Every sensation.
He says sensation and then he licks. Oh.
Every hunger pain, right? Everything that child experiences, they think is coming from them because they can't distinguish between themselves and the world. They can't make that separation.
Okay.
Roughly at 4 months, however, give or take, most children start developing the capacity. So by the way, that all me situation, oftentimes there are human beings that never separate. They never.
Dude, infants are 100% reliant on their mother. What is he talking about? Freud is so gross, man. Yeah, infants are narcissistic. Look how excited he is. John, I'm gonna need to see a copy of your phone, sir. This is very disturbing.
Get away from that. And that becomes the basis for later narcissism. So when you say, if somebody says, well, that person's acting like a baby, yeah, because they never
Literally.
evolved. They never evolved beyond that all me position where everything revolved around them, right? Every sensation, everything someone did for them, they all think it's them and they all think it's about them. But around 4 months or so, children start to develop, 6 months, they start developing this capacity to distinguish me from not me.
Okay.
And one of the things children do when they do that is they split the world up. A lot of times they'll split the world up into all good and all bad. And so children, when children are fed and when they're cuddled and when they're happy, they'll think the world is good. But when they're not fed and when they're hungry and when their diapers need to change and they're uncomfortable and they're stressed, they'll start seeing all of the world as bad. And so the reason why children do this, by the way, and I'm again like young infants, the reason they do this is to simply
What? He's acting like infants are conscious of it. Dude, you're a fucking quack. Infants, when they're hungry, they cry. That's how they communicate their needs. When they poop in their diapers, they cry and let us know that there's something that needs to be done. What? Dude, this guy is weird. He is a weirdo.
And when they're cuddled and when they're happy, they'll think the world is good. But when they're not fed and when they're hungry and when their diapers need to change and they're uncomfortable and they're stressed, they'll start seeing all of the world as bad. And so the reason why children do this, by the way, and I'm again like young infants, the reason they do this is to simplify the world. So it's a lot easier for a child. If you think about good and bad as two bins, good, you have a bin of good, you got the bin.
I don't like him talking about infants being uncomfortable and stressed. I don't like that. I don't like that. My infants, John, were not uncomfortable or stressed. They were very sweet, calm, precious little infants. They cried when they needed something. As humans, we pick up on the cry. We figure out what's wrong. What are you even talking about, dude? This is not okay.
Do this, by the way, and I'm again like young infants, the reason they do this is to simplify the world. So it's a
like they're conscious of it.
lot easier for a child. If you think about good and bad as two bins, good, you have a bin of good, you got the bin of bad. If you could divide the world up into two really simple bins, you know, I'm hungry, that's bad. I'm being fed, that's good. Then it's a lot easier for the child isn't threatened.
Right.
One of the biggest problems a child has is survival and fear of, like, the biggest fear a child has, and according to Melanie Klein, is this fear of abandonment or even annihilation.
What? Melanie Klein is a fucking lunatic. A fear that the child... What? Let me tell you something. I had a very good upbringing. I never feared abandonment, and I never feared annihilation. That probably comes after something bad happens to a child. You're gross. You're gross. Ugh.
The biggest problems a child has is survival and fear of, like, the biggest fear a child has, and according to Melanie Klein, is this fear of abandonment or even annihilation. That the child believes at some level that that if they don't have some capacity for good, that somehow all of their aggressive instincts and all of these parts of themselves that tend to be
What?
a little more, harmful, let's say, like if a child doesn't get what it wants and it hits the caretaker, for example, caregiver, there's this fear in the child that somehow that they'll disappear, that they won't survive.
What?
And so,
wait, what the? Where did this just go? Willow, thank you for your super chat. Thank you so much. What in the fuck? He says right here, the child doesn't get what it wants and it hits the caretaker, for example. The caretaker, there's this fear in the child that somehow that they'll disappear, that they won't survive. And so that the caretaker will disappear. The caretaker will disappear. Huh? This guy is off his rocker.
There's this fear in the child that somehow that they'll disappear, that they won't survive. And so
But the caretaker will disappear. The caretaker will disappear.
Won't survive? The fuck? He's saying kids want to kill their caretakers? This is dangerous talk. This is dangerous talk. I need a Coke. I need a Coke. Hold on.
Or that the baby will.
Yes, that the caretaker, it's both. So
she said that the baby will. So that the caretaker will disappear or the baby will. What?
And so
that the caretaker will disappear. The caretaker will disappear. Or that the baby will.
Yes, that the caretaker, it's both. So splitting often involves projecting or seeing others in the environment as all good or all bad. When the child believes that the caregiver or the other person isn't giving them exactly what they need, then they try to create distance from that person. And the reason they do that is so they don't feel completely overwhelmed. So they don't feel overwhelmed by these bad aspects of the world. And there's another component to that too. Not only are they trying not to feel overwhelmed by the bad, but they also don't want to destroy the good. But I think the important point with splitting is that the world gets divided up into good and bad, essentially, that there's this fragmentation. And it's a lot easier for a child to see the world occurring in 2 bins rather than, say, 2,000 bins, right? Like, the truth of the matter is that the world probably is more like 2,000 bins. But a 6-month-old clearly isn't going to understand that, nor are they going to be able to process that. So they make it really simple, and everything is good and bad, and you have sort of this fragmentation and this compartmentalization going on.
None of this is true, folks. Don't believe the hype.
And so part of the paranoid schizoid position for Melanie Klein is that this is a period for the child of intense fear. There's a lack of integration of the good and the bad, right?
I mean, we're literally talking about infants, and they're supposed to be reviewing a Netflix where a bunch of people that he's never evaluated or even talked to had this circumstance going on between the mother, daughter, and the boyfriend. But now we're talking about babies, weird things about babies disappearing, babies wanting their caregivers to disappear, babies being narcissistic.
Splitting, by definition, is that the good and the bad are separate, and that's how the child perceives the world. And this is considered a very primitive defense mechanism. And the reason that's true is because ultimately, when a child reaches the next stage for Klein, which is called the depressive position, the child is able to recognize the world and others as separate, and the child is eventually able to integrate the good and the bad elements, those good and the bad parts of themselves. And when the infant can do that, then presumably, so if we think of the good and bad, if we think of the good as love and we think of the bad as hate, ultimately the goal for the infant is to integrate kind of both these loving and hateful feelings towards the same person or object simultaneously, right? So we would call that maturity. It's not, for a lot of us, that takes a lifetime. That doesn't occur at 6 months automatically. It probably doesn't occur for a couple of years. But you move from this splitting, and also,
dude, he's literally quoting some woman who followed Freud and died in 1960. And he's talking about infants. Puff, puff, pass. Smoke them if you got them.
So, by the way, another common defense mechanism in those early years is projection. So I mentioned projection earlier.
That's what you guys
projecting
do.
Those unwanted parts of ourselves onto other people because we can't.
Yep, that you guys project your unwanted parts on us every day.
Can't cope with them. We don't want to feel them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. You guys do it every day. Lizard tongue.
That's going on too. So think about a child that feels really angry. The child doesn't have the capacity to recognize that. The child knows that they feel bad.
Why are we talking about angry children, dude? This documentary has nothing to do with angry children or infants. What in the fuck? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Because this is what they do.
Can't cope with them. We don't want to feel them, right? That's going on too. So think about a child that feels really angry. The child doesn't have the capacity to recognize that. The child knows that they feel bad. The child knows that something isn't right physically in their body, right? And so when they feel, their version of projection would be, if you feel angry, hit something, throw something.
Huh? Hit something. What? An infant cries.
Their version of projection would be, if you feel angry, hit something.
That's an infant projecting? Look at her. She's like, okay.
Throw something, right?
Right.
Scream, throw a tantrum. So that's projection when you're a child. Unfortunately, for some human beings, as we get older and we're not able to integrate the loving and the hateful elements of relationships, and we're not able to kind of do that in a way where we see a caregiver as capable of love and capable of, hate's a strong word, but not meeting our needs.
Yeah.
If we can't integrate that, then that continues. And same thing with projection. If we're not somehow able to develop a little more complexity or a richer interior life, we continue with projection for many, many years into adulthood, or if not forever. And so that's where, by the way, that's the goal of therapy. The goal of therapy is to...
You know what, though, Janice? I almost feel like if they had two, at least they'd have two to fucking combat these two fucking weirdos.
Or I should say some types of therapy. For some types of therapy, certainly one of the goals is to develop some insight and self-knowledge, to help the client develop some insight and self-knowledge.
He is paper.
So that they can begin this process of integration, so that they can understand that a relationship can involve both elements of love and hate, or good and bad, right? And so you kind of know, same thing with splitting. You kind of know if someone is splitting later on as an adult because
splitting,
they'll engage in this
like her tongue,
rigid, overly simplistic black and white thinking. They'll see the world so simply. They'll go back to those early dynamics of everything good and everything bad, those two bins. If you know people that divide the world up into those two bins, you're probably dealing with some version of splitting.
Okay, interesting.
No,
we're all thinking about people we know in our lives. Oh, yeah.
No, I don't, Salty. Salty says, do you think Lauren realizes she's a lot like the examples her husband presents? I don't. I think that she projects those examples onto others like Christina and Janice and Lindsay and Stephanie and Colette. That's what I think she does. I think she takes these examples and puts it on all of them.
Into those two bins, you're probably dealing with some version of splitting.
Okay, interesting. I think we're all thinking about people we know in our lives. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
And so one of the aspects of splitting, by the way, is that because you can't resolve this distinction between love and hate, you're going to really struggle with competition. And so this is going to take us back to Kendra. So that if you go back to the diagram, the circle around Kendra and Lauren, and the red line and the three green lines, that's a version of splitting. Think of the red line as love. I mean, the green lines as love. I call it dependency.
God.
And think of the red line as hate, right? It's trying to resolve.
Wow.
Those opposites. It's trying
These
to resolve
lines,
that dialectic
John,
between love and hate.
Your lines
Kendra
turn
cannot
me
do.
on.
And one of the reasons, which by the way tells us that there's something very primitive with her, something very infantile about Kendra. But one of the issues with splitting is that when you encounter competition, when you engage in competition, there's a tendency to see competitors as all bad. There's a tendency to see competition as hateful, right? And again, it's dividing the world up into the most simplistic categories.
Oh,
it's hateful.
Sure
all
is.
bad.
Right here.
When you engage in competition,
this is Lauren right here. You ready?
splitting is that when you encounter competition, when you engage in competition, there's a tendency to see competitors as all bad. There's a tendency to see competition as hateful, right? And again,
there you go. That's Lauren right there. She sees competition as hateful. She hates her competition. When she shouldn't even be looking at people as competition. She should be looking at them as peers and networking.
Again, it's dividing the world up into the most simplistic categories. And so Kendra can't see the complexity of this. She can't see. She understands at some unconscious level that her attraction to Owen is inappropriate, right? and not normal. She understands that society is not going to approve of that, I think. But
okay.
What she can't do is she can't figure out a way to get Lauren out of this triangle. She makes it into this really unhealthy competition where, unfortunately, for Lauren, Lauren becomes kind of in the splitting, Lauren becomes kind of the bad person and Owen becomes the good person. So Lauren becomes the object and projection of all of Kendra's negative feelings, and Owen becomes the object and projection of all of her positive.
She did, Janice, for sure.
Interesting.
Then she found out who your brother
and so that's
was.
why you get, she talks about, essentially, she kind of over idealizes Owen, and everything she says about her daughter is so negative, including asking her daughter to harm herself.
Well, another great example of the projection that was actually pointed out in the film was Kendra talking poorly of Lauren's looks and saying that she was anorexic and tiny, and didn't have a butt or breasts, while we learned that Kendra was actually starving herself and trying to lose weight. I mean, that's a great example that they actually pointed out in the film, that she was ripping on her daughter for being very thin while desperately trying to reach that thinness.
Right,
Wow.
exactly. Another example. So one thing that comes out from these texts is that there's deeper and deeper levels to this analysis, and that is,
God,
there's a lot of shame here.
Shame?
There's a lot of inadequacy, and that also, by the way, is often part of this paranoid schizoid position for Melanie Klein.
Schizoid.
One of the crucial elements of
Paranoid schizoid. Sounds like Lauren to me.
that position is this chronic insecurity and this chronic inadequacy that follows us throughout life, even from those very early years. It's this chronic shame, and you see that with Kendra in terms of her physical appearance. She makes so many comments, so many negative comments about Lauren's physical appearance, how ugly she is, right? How her outfits, everything, right? Her body, and all of that's a projection. All of that is her own shame. Her own shame over her looks, her own shame over her feelings of her own attractiveness, because she can't cope with that, because she can't integrate that, because she can't make sense of her own feelings of inadequacy around her looks. She's putting it on her daughter.
And
good Lord, shut the hell up. Thank you, Nikki Noodle, for your super chat. She said, I don't know if those are real pearls or not, but that's one ugly sweater that John's never seen before. It is ugly. Nikki, thank you for upgrading to Clicker Cooter. Thank you so much for your support. Hey, Lindsay Hendricks.
Lauren is.
Oh, yes. This is the documentary about the unknown number. We've gone to infants, being narcissistic, all kinds of weird, crazy, gross stuff.
Lovely teenage girl, too. So there's got to be some jealousy there, too.
Right, exactly. And that's the other part of this. So the jealousy fits in with the competition. If you see your daughter as competitive for the same person, in this case, Owen, of course there's going to be jealousy. So jealousy is definitely driving this narrative, because jealousy goes hand in hand with competition.
Yeah.
Healthy human beings can compete. They understand that it's important to compete, but they don't necessarily, they don't try to vilify and dehumanize and hate their competitors, right? That's not healthy. That's not normal.
Right.
Ultimately,
has this switched into Lauren's situation now?
Again, the goal is to, when you move from this paranoid schizoid position into the depressive position, the goal is to integrate these.
I thought it was, Lindsay. I was told that's not, but it looks like the same one to me. Look, it is the same one. It is the same one. See? So we think she filmed this September 22nd. This is September 11th. Nikki Noodle, thank you for becoming a cooter today.
She says, welcome to Cooterville. Everybody close your legs. Everybody coming in, close your legs.
Close your legs.
Yeah, Janice is here. It's the same. We suspect September 22nd, and this is September 11th.
Different opposites, and to create some balance around that, so that you can compete, but you also understand that cooperation and compassion are part of that, or it can be a part of that.
Yeah. It's also, I think, a polarization too, in certain just ideas and thought processes when you talk about that.
Yeah.
Such
and there's
extremes,
another
such extremes.
Such
This
extremes,
is
right?
so
And when
boring.
you see
I don't know
people
how
on the
people
extremes,
watch
again,
this.
that gets back to splitting. that gets back to this defense mechanism of splitting the world up into all good and all bad because it makes it easier. It means that we don't have to engage with the world at any meaningful level. It means we don't have to address the complexities of the world or ourselves at any meaningful level. If we just split everything into good and bad, both inside ourselves and outside of ourselves, things are easier. Right? And so that if we see someone as a competitor and someone who can threaten us or hurt us, it's easy. Just let's label them as bad. Let's label them as right. And, without acknowledging your feelings of jealousy, without acknowledging your feelings of envy, which, by the way, envy, towards the end of Melanie Klein's life, envy became a big part of her whole theoretical approach.
No one cares.
Which we don't have time to get into at the moment.
Thank God.
But,
maybe another time.
Yeah, maybe.
Patreon.
Okay. Yeah. So I kind of wrote down some of the motives that the documentary brings up. One thing, Kendra, this would be denial. This would be another. Denial is one of the most primitive defense mechanisms. So when I say a primitive defense mechanism, I mean defense mechanisms that we develop very early in life and then we don't necessarily let go of, right? And so there are defense mechanisms that would be considered more mature and healthier. One of those would be humor. Humor is a way of coping with something, but it's a healthy way of doing it. It's not denial, right? So early on in this documentary,
that's not true.
Kendra says something like, "We all break the law, but if we don't get caught," right? She's essentially rationalizing that what she did was fine because she says we all break the law. She gives example. Sometimes people will drive drunk, but if they don't get caught, nobody cares, right? It doesn't matter. She's like, "But I happen to get caught, so this is just like driving drunk, right? We all do it. It's really okay. I just happen to get caught." I mean,
right.
Okay.
That's how she justified it. What the heck?
That's denial. That's rationalization. That's silly. Here's some other interesting elements so let's continue with our analysis a little bit here. She tells us
continue
that,
reading.
She was traumatized at the age of 17. She experienced a sexual assault, and presumably because of that, she says, quote, "I was someone different in those moments." So she's talking about when she was a stalker. "I was someone different in those moments. It's like I had a mask on. I don't even know who I was." Right? That's interesting. I mean, there's some insight there. What she's saying there is that there's some element of dissociation.
Yeah.
And dissociation, by the way, could be consistent with trauma. It could be consistent with someone being assaulted at the age of 17.
He just wants to go into that more.
I think for Kendra, a lot of this occurs much earlier than 17. So I do see that as a little bit of a cop-out. I don't want to minimize that because that could be an important part of this analysis. But
wait a minute.
I do want to say, by the way, that oftentimes splitting taken to an extreme, it's not hard to imagine that splitting taken to an extreme can be seen as a type of disassociation. So
yeah.
So
wait a second.
So
she said herself, this Kendra said herself, that she was SA'd at 17. He can't just take what her word is. He has to go a step further. He has to go a step further and say, yeah, well, I don't think that's where it started with her. He's so gross.
Association. So
yeah.
So she's kind of identifying this as this wearing a mask, right? Like she's kind of identifying this as I would call this more an alter ego than, say, dissociative identity disorder, which used to be called, that's what it's called now. It used to be called multiple personality disorder. Taken to an extreme, disassociation is...
Why can't we just call her a pedophile? Why can't we just call her a pedophile? If this was a male... Hold on, let's talk this out. For those of you that have seen The Unknown Number, imagine that being the dad in the story. And he had a son. And the dad was texting the son's girlfriend, who was 13, these things. That's all it is. This isn't multiple disabilities. This isn't all disassociation. This isn't different identities. This is pedophilia. Except she's a woman. The kid was 12 and 13. Oh, the sexual texts were disgusting. It's none of these things.
Different identities.
Wow.
It's multiple personality disorder, right? And so a lesser version of that
He's trying to normalize what was going on.
would be what
Exactly, Lindsay, right.
Heinz Kohut, who had this theory in self-psychology, he referred to it as twinship or alter ego. The alter ego is essentially an alternative self. The alter ego is often seen as kind of a secondary self. So an alter ego can be both positive and negative. An alter ego, if you think of sports, so let's say a high school athlete is going to go compete in a basketball game, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna put on my Michael Jordan or my LeBron James personality for the game, right? They're going to try to channel LeBron James for the game. That's an alter ego.
So pedos are just alter egos? He's comparing it to someone going to play a basketball game and channeling their inner Michael Jordan to being a pedo. What are they doing? Channeling their inner John Matthias?
They're going to try to step into that identity and step up their game with it, right? They're going to play harder. They're going to pretend they're LeBron James. Alter ego, right? That's going to help them. Potentially that could help them. But then you have Kendra's alter ego, which is this crazed stalker.
He laughs. He thinks it's funny.
Right? And she's kind of
Or
acknowledging
LeBron. What I say, Michael Jordan.
that. She's saying she had this mask on. She doesn't know who she was.
You ever watch Predator Poachers? All those guys have masks on too. Until they're exposed. Kendra was exposed for being a pedo.
What's interesting about that,
And I don't give a fuck if it came from her being abused as a child. I don't give a fuck where it comes from. It is what it is. Every pedo has a past. It doesn't excuse it and it doesn't normalize it like this guy wants you to. Don't ever listen to his advice.
me is this kind of follows the classic textbook analysis of offenders that you and I talk about all the time, which is that a lot of offenders across the board, stalkers, serial killers, mass shooters, they follow this transformation from helplessness and powerlessness to powerful and dominant, right? And if you look at Kendra's alter ego here, if you look at these texts, I think the first thing that people will notice about these texts is that they're super aggressive.
So aggressive, so cruel.
They're super aggressive. They're cruel. I would even say that they're violent to some degree.
They're sexual. They're minors, you know.
There's this campaign of intimidation. There's this she's trying to create fear not only does she create
a bit
fear
of
in the
coercive control and trying to get them to do what she wants them to do.
That's exactly everything we went over in the 9-hour yesterday. Between hours 5.5 and 7. She talked about how the group of girls was using coercive control. So she's relating this to her situation right here.
There's this she's trying to create fear not only does she create
a bit
fear
of coercive control and trying to get them to do what she wants them to do.
Right. They're threatening. She's obsessive. She's posting 40 or 50 texts a day. You've got intimidation, you've got dominance, right? If you look at Kendra in this documentary or like people's perceptions of her, it's the complete opposite. Right? This is someone who's lying about she's not working, so she feels incompetent around work. She feels like she can't master anything in her life. She has to lie about everything. Right? That's part of this identity too. So in order to move from this feeling of helplessness and powerlessness, she creates this alter ego that's like this domineering, right? Intimidating person that's out there like getting everyone riled up.
Okay.
Creating all this fear. And it's by the way, the fear is rippling throughout the community. Right? Everyone in that high school knows about it. Everyone in the community, all the parents are worried. Like, is this going to strike me?
They're dividing up. It's dividing up the town, pointing fingers at one another, getting everyone against one another, afraid.
And right, and so this is what's occurring there. You've got this kind of what I call the classic formula in understanding criminality. You go from helplessness and powerlessness to powerful and dominant, and that's what you see. That's what, if you look at the voice or the person behind these texts, even though we don't know who it is, that's the persona they're trying to create. So that's an alter ego for Kendra. And by the way, that alter ego, you know, we've talked about the show Catfish. One of my favorite episodes is for those who have seen this, it's the Katy Perry episode where
he watches Catfish and he has a favorite episode with Katy Perry. Oh my God. He watches Catfish, y'all.
One of my favorite episodes is for those who have seen this, it's the Katy Perry episode where this guy Spencer thinks that Katy Perry's in love with them, and it turns out that it's this woman who lives in England who is pretending to be Katy Perry.
Spoiler alert, it's not Katy Perry. Katy Perry
right.
didn't fall in love with some random on the internet that she wrote for years and years. Okay, anyway, keep going.
So when they finally catch up with the offender, with the catfisher, what she says is essentially what she says is, I pretended to be Katy Perry because it made me feel powerful and it made me feel alive. That's what she says, right? It's the same dynamic here. When you create an alter ego,
Retro
catfishing
Crochet
is about creating an alter ego. Catfishing is stepping into some identity that you don't have, that you wish you had, and then playing that out. And often harming people as a result of that. Not always, but quite often.
That's what you've done.
And so the goal there is it's the same. It's to feel stronger. It's to feel more competent. It's to feel right. It's to feel mastery. And so you have the same dynamic here.
That makes sense. Wow. A lot happening.
Right.
More than a few squiggly lines on that chart.
Let's go. Let's get back to, let me just get back to Sean a little bit here, by the way.
Back to the
So
husband.
you see Sean up there. Sean sort of, you know, the left out of all the dynamics. The blue line, I haven't explained this. The blue line between Sean and Laura means that their relationship, I think their relationship before all the stalking was a relationship that I would describe as connected. So in other words,
you know nothing about their relationship.
Superficial, they're connected, but they're not particularly close.
Okay.
However, what's interesting, and this is worth pointing out, towards the end of the documentary, Lauren says of her dad, quote, "Me and my dad have gotten so much closer since this happened."
Yeah.
Right. One of the interesting consequences here is that this whole, well, first of all, Sean and Kendra are divorced now, I believe, right?
Yes, they are.
So
divorced, luckily.
This whole diagram, we're gonna have to redo this whole diagram to reflect. This diagram reflects
pre-finding out, pre-spoiler. This diagram is pre-spoiler. After spoiler stuff happens.
And so
what?
One of the things I think that's changed for the positive.
What is he talking about?
Is that I would actually draw now between Sean and Lauren, I would actually draw two lines. So I don't think that they're overly dependent. Maybe they are to some degree, but I think for the moment I would consider their relationship as close. But close,
close as bonded. Yeah.
Close in a healthy way. Close, not in a codependent kind of overly.
Well, he blamed this on Lauren, but then he admitted that he made it.
Dependent way. So that's one of the real positives I think that's come out of this is that Lauren has connected with her father in what appears to be a fairly healthy manner.
Which
you have no idea what's happened.
With Kendra's enmeshment and codependency,
no
do you
idea.
think she actually kind of kept that from happening with Sean and Lauren? And then once she was out of the picture, aka behind bars, that went away? Do you think she sort of made it so she could never get closer?
If you go, you know, during the documentary, there's this incredible moment when the police come over to reveal the identity. You know, they do the big reveal that it's Kendra.
The body cam footage.
Right. And what's interesting, one of the interesting things about that, one of the interesting dynamics in the body cam is that, as we talked about earlier, Kendra is physically, she blankets Lauren. She's all over her, right? She won't let her go, right? And
it's so funny you say that, Lindsay, because he asked her why he made Lauren or Kendra's name wonky. And then he said it's because her mental health is wonky.
So she's saying she can't be alone. She can't be alone. I mean, this is the person that abused her.
Right.
This is the person that relentlessly abused her and told her to harm herself for a year and a half. And here she is not letting go of her. And yes, I think.
Okay. I'll play Ret Defat. What am I going to be sued for? I'll come back on camera. Every day with Jay. Are you waiting or wanting to be sued? 6 question marks. What am I going to be sued for? Ret-a-fat? Rat-a-tat-tat? I'm waiting. Sued for what? For reviewing a YouTube video? What is it now? I can't wait to hear. I've done no suable offenses. No, don't get rid of them. I want to know what I'm waiting or wanting to be sued about. I'm curious. What does that little heart stand for? I mean, it's weird when people come in and say that. I'm curious. I guess they're not going to tell me. You're just going to come in and say that.
And Sean is just kind of sitting.
I haven't seen them reply. When they reply, I'll pause.
In the background, he's despondent. He's angry. He doesn't know what to do. He's telling Kendra to leave, but he's not interfering, right? He's not trying to separate Lauren and Kendra. Right. And so that speaks to what you're saying. I think that Kendra's dependency on Lauren is partly a result of the fact that there's marital problems with Sean, and she feels like she can get closer to Lauren because of that. But also she's developing that dependency to keep Sean at a distance.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Is that it? I mean, that was a lot. But that's all you got? That's it?
Well, I could read some more of these texts, but I think we're better off staying away from. I think I've read the main text that kind of shed light on this situation. But
Cooters of control.
Yeah. Those are it's a fairly complex analysis, and actually, I could actually add more layers to this if I knew Kendra's biological family and if I knew Sean's. Right, like we could go way deeper with this if I knew more. But I'm limited, obviously, to just the dynamic of this particular family. We're not backing up to their families of origin. I think that would provide even more.
The heart is a South African flag. Retired defense attorney of 45 years. You can be sued for your comments on the review. We got
Does
a good.
Anybody else feel like they are sitting in Charlie Brown's classroom, listening to that teacher?
I do, Shortcake. Thank you for your cooter chat. I do. It's like his voice. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, well, lucky for me and you, I don't live in South Africa, and you don't live in the United States. So, am I supposed to be scared? I can be sued for my comments on the review. Okay. No, they're not. They're not, Nikki. How about this?
Fuck directly off.
Sue me for that.
More layers and more depth.
Yeah, agree. Email us if you know more. We can do part 2.
Yeah.
Email us. We'll do a follow-up. If you do know more, if your family members with them, extended family, and know more, at hiddentruecrimeinfo@gmail.com.
They want to talk to extended family, and they're giving out the email.
A fascinating Netflix documentary. Yeah. Wow. There's TikToks being made saying, "Thanks, Mom, for hitting me with a wooden stick and not cyberbullying me. You're the best." Everyone's rethinking their childhoods after this.
Right.
I'm like, maybe it wasn't so bad. I was just hit. Just kidding.
But I think it's important to keep in mind too, before we finish tonight, that people are just astounded by this, and they should be. It's jaw dropping. It's crazy. It's
and it also has nothing to do
really
with infants being narcissists,
process, right? But then again, you and I, we cover filicides all the time. I wish we didn't, but mothers murder their kids.
Yeah.
Mothers abuse their kids in the most horrendous ways too. So this is kind of a variation on that.
I also want to point out
What a joke. Point it
how
out.
it's also shed light on
Oh,
just how
here we go.
traumatic cyber bullying and cyber stalking
Here
is.
we go.
This is a new thing since the internet's come out, a new way to harass and hurt people with the most horrendous.
This is a new thing. No, it's not. Cyberbullying is not a new thing. When the internet came out, bitch, the internet's been out since 1995. The fuck are you? You guys are like stuck in the 90s or something. Weird. Am I going to get sued for that in South Africa?
Of consequences that, I joked about those TikToks that people are saying, thanks mom for, just physically hitting me. I made a light joke, but there's a deeper message there, which is people are saying this is so bad to do. This is worse. This can be just as bad, if not worse, than physical abuse. And I'm not going to compare. I'm not trying to calculate here. My point is, it also shed the light on this new way to hurt people, which is cyberbullying. And John and I, you and I have been learning a lot about this and the effects, and we're raising a child, and it's horrendous. And I'm grateful that Owen and Lauren are still here and everyone else that was involved. I don't know many teenagers that would still be here. And I hope that they're healing and continue to heal. This will affect their entire life. And that was said in the movie too, that teenage, those ages affect your entire life. Your brain is developing. It will affect them forever. What happened to them?
Shut up, Lauren.
Yeah, on that issue, thank you for pointing that out. I would really like to end on that note by pointing out all of the impact on these victims and the impact of cyberbullying, because you and I are becoming much more passionate about that. I think, obviously raising a child, we have a lot of fear for the future and for
hey, Mojo
I think
Rising.
the laws around this have not caught up with what's occurring. And,
they haven't.
And, we know people that are kind of invested in this area, and I think we're going to probably collaborate with them a little bit and cover more of these stories, because cyberbullying is so traumatic, and it gives people like this whole idea of the alter ego, right? It gives people now have a platform where they can hide who they are.
Yeah.
People have platforms now where they can troll, and they can do this so easily.
Isn't that what you did, Lauren? Didn't you troll Nate Eaton's page? Correct me if I'm wrong, but she made an alt on East Idaho News and then said bad things about Nate and his coworkers.
But let me mention some of the symptoms, some of the issues that occurred from the cyberbullying: depression, sadness. Can I mention the S word?
No. Self-harm.
Depression.
Oh, meanwhile, we have a cyberbully in here from South Africa saying that I'm going to get sued for my comments in this review. You're who they're talking about, Mr. 45-year retired defense.
And sadness, self-harm. So Owen talked about getting to the point where he was really concerned about his own safety for himself and self-harming. Fear, stress, anxiety, anger, rage, helplessness, insomnia, panic attacks, mistrust in future relationships. I could go on.
This is all prepping the audience.
And on. The impact of cyberbullying is pervasive, and it's deep, and it's horrible. And unfortunately, I think a lot of adolescents are being affected by this, even adults.
This little pussy.
And it may not be recognized as widely as it should. And so maybe this documentary will help draw more attention to this issue.
Yeah, you can't escape it. That's the problem. It's incessant. There's no escape from it.
Right. And there's this uncertainty. There's this constant uncertainty, this constant fear that the cyberbully is trying to intimidate you. The cyberbully is running a campaign of fear and intimidation. And there's this helplessness. You can't turn it off.
Oh my God.
None of these people can turn it off. They talk about getting rid of their cell phones, but they know that's not going to solve it. They try to, eventually the FBI gets involved and figures out who it is. But before that, all these people feel just completely helpless.
Yeah. It's in your home, in your family, in your house. We've talked about that too. When you are bullied at school, at least maybe you can go to bed at night and have a moment of escape. But when it's cyberbullying, it's continuous and ongoing.
Right.
And
It's 24/7. It's 24/7. And if you look at this from a
24
psychological standpoint, it's sort of like gambling. Like it's called variable reinforcement. They never know when the next text or message is going to occur, right? So they live in this constant state of panic and fear.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Anyway.
set up.
Thank you. Yeah. I wish Lauren and Owen and all the others affected by this healing. I don't think saw this, but Skye Borgman has done a couple of interviews. I've read articles that Skye has done, the director of this film. And she did
Name
say
drop.
that over the process of filming, she saw Lauren sort of process exactly what her mother did. And Skye Borgman also did Sins of Our Mother, the film that followed Colby Ryan as well. And
Unbelievable.
Skye said that she sensed Lauren sort of maybe seeing a little bit more reality or coming to terms a little bit more, but she has a long way ahead of her, clearly. So
This
we
is
wish everybody
right.
luck. And I
This is right after CrimeCon. So she had just gotten home from CrimeCon.
keep mentioning Lauren and Owen, but there were several students that were hurt, that were blamed,
Right.
that were bullied. So.
Yeah, Chloe, there were a number of them,
Chloe.
Adriana.
Mhm.
And the film ends though on kind of the note that
We're almost
I
done,
think
Lucky.
seems like this was deliberate, but it kind of ends on the note that Lauren can't wait, or maybe that's too strong, that Lauren is looking forward to
Reconnecting.
reconnecting with her mother. Yeah.
To be determined. We'll see. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for always recommending what you want us to cover. We actually get several recommends a day now, but this one in particular, my goodness. So here we are, spoiling it all for you. So thank you for asking, and thank you, John. And thank you for allowing me to draw your little diagram, trusting me to do that.
Yep. We can expand on the diagram if we learn more about
No more diagrams.
the Kendra's and Sean's and their families of origins and kind of their family histories too, but we'll save that for another day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have
All
a great.
Ugh. Why would they need to revisit this? Like, why do we need to go further into their families? Like, there was a documentary. Review it. Be done with it. Weirdo. He wants to talk more about this weird relationship between Kendra and this Owen kid. And then the very ending was all prepping the gems for what was next to come. Which was all the bullshit. Starting with, so this was September 11th. This is what we think is September 22nd.
So let's watch this. Whether or not this goes through, I don't know. I think that's where I think I'm willing to start talking. Because I always just want to do things right. When they go low, you go high, and just do things right and rely.
It was all planned. So we just saw, right? They're so transparent, says Trinity. Swanee says he talked smack about communication in the marriage and their home. Look at how these two are so passive aggressive with each other. This was all calculated. We had no idea what we were about to be hit with. It's wild. It's very wild. And she's so smug after coming back from CrimeCon. After all the shit she pulled there. There she sits. Just so full of herself. Laxie, I agree with that. Hey, my South African attorney friend. I didn't mean to, be mean to you. But when you come into my chat and you say, are you looking or want to be sued? That's not really coming in and say, hey, what's poppin'? You know what I mean? Maybe next time come in with a, hey, what's poppin'? And then we might have a better, back and forth between us. What do you guys think? Do we need some What's Poppin' shirts in the merch store? Oh, maybe they're pissed they weren't invited to be part of the documentary, so they decided to make their own about cyber stalking. She does want to do the documentary. Remember, she says this right in here. I will forever remember when I got the call from someone telling me about you, Jay. So grateful you took this on. I'm so grateful that person told you about me. Because you really deserve vindication. We should suggest they cover Turtle Boy's case. Cooters be poppin'. I mean, who comes in like that? Like, hey, you're looking to get sued. Like, hey, how you doing? Happy Friday. Kristen, let's get some "you gonna get sued, dumb bee" shirts. Oh, man, people are wild. I want all the contractors to be on a panel at Crime. You guys, did you know that CrimeCon is going to be popping this year? Y'all, I caught Ashley Banfield's members only last night, and she's like inviting all of her friends. Yes, and Fuck Directly Off mugs, FDO, are available in the merch store right now. Anyways, Ashley Banfield did a members only. It was so cool to see her like in her element. Her husband came in and said hi. It was really cute. But she's like inviting all of her Ashley Banfield friends to come to CrimeCon and like have coffee and talk true crime. I think there's going to be a lot of people going. Is it popping off? Yeah, and it's in Vegas. Rocky Boy. It's Lindsay Hendricks. I think my other account got reported for cussing or all caps. What? In here? The Bing Bong moment was her mentioning producer of that documentary. Also did Sins of Our Mother with Colby. Mm-hmm. Who wants some space sex to get the laugh on a bit? You want space sex? Put a 1 if you want space sex. Right, come. Even if you want to, even if you just hang out at the bar. You don't have to go to the festivities if you go there. It's at Caesars. You can stay at any. Is Christina going to CrimeCon? Mabel wants to know. You can literally stay anywhere and just, walk to the Caesars. Rocky Boy is my weenie dog. I made an account. I made an account for him to get a free trial of Sling back in the day. Yes, she will be at CrimeCon, she says. I think we all need one of those possum shirts that say, first of all, I'm a delight. I ordered mine. Yes, you could literally stay wherever you wanted. Do you guys want to watch the Blue Origin again? I got it right from their site.
All right, at T-minus just under 40 seconds.
Propellant tanks are at flight pressures.
You can hear that the propellant takes
switch to onboard.
You guys are too much. None of these ever disappoint.
Thrust termination system is armed.
Look at it. It's all dripping and shit. I would not trust this. Would you trust this? This does not look kosher to me at all. It looks like they painted this on to make it look like it's been beat up. I don't trust it.
T-minus 25 seconds.
Oh, there they are. You can actually see them they look like mannequins. But look, there they are. They're all strapped in. Can you see them?
All right, it is time to launch this rocket.
These people
9,
paid
8, 7,
$450,000 to do this.
Start 2, 1, 0.
Look at it. It looks healthy. There she blows.
5,000 feet.
Hey, Sacred Ache.
Crew capsule passing 11,000 feet.
All right, New Shepard has
Begin throttle
cleared
down
the
for fuel
tower.
limiting.
Take a look on your screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to follow along with our telemetry, giving you
Engine response
altitude
looks good.
and speed. And then on the bottom right-hand side of the
I
screen,
didn't
you'll
look
be
it
able to see how
up,
far you
Bailey,
are
but I
into
can.
an S-38 flight.
The dong rocket.
Mach 1 vehicle is supersonic.
All right, they're supersonic. You're
Engine
going to
back,
hear a little
full
bit of
throttle. Super
excitement.
pressures look good.
Here. Little bit of excitement here. The guy said supersonic. He's like, supersonic.
You are hearing our
Passing
astronauts
62,000
from
feet.
inside the vehicle.
Astronauts experiencing max ascent Gs. Begin throttle down, stand by MECO. MECO confirmed.
They're about to hit the G spot.
MECO is main engine cutoff.
Stand by separation.
Here it comes.
Stand. Separation confirmed. Start your GoPros. Start your GoPros.
You'll notice the telemetry graphics have split.
Capsule body rates look good.
One for the booster, one for the capsule to follow their respective journeys.
Wow. Wow.
3 minutes, 20 seconds into flight.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Wow. Wow. Oh, geez. Wow. Oh, God.
Capsule has passed the Kármán line.
I'm crying.
Too much. It is flat. It's not flat. No.
It's so funny.
I can see the moon.
Capsule apogee at 350,000 feet.
Rocket Man. 450K. Now they're coming down. Or it just separated. Sorry. The booster's coming down. It's so funny. I'm too immature for this, too.
4 minutes, 25 seconds into flight.
Liar detective. This is Blue Origin's rocket taking some
Despite the clouds, we've
people
got a
out.
nice long range shot of the capsule and the booster.
1 minute warning.
That
Capsule
1
body
minute
rates
warning
look good.
is for our astronauts, knowing that they have 1 minute before they need to get back and buckled into their seats to return to Earth.
Booster descending past 300,000 feet.
I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Hold on. These people, I'm going to find out who they are. Hold on. After this is over. I want to see if this video shows
Booster will land about 2 miles
them
north
getting off.
of where liftoff was.
Booster descent nominal.
Here comes the booster.
The booster, of course, returning first because of the aerodynamic shape.
Watch how it
and
comes
give our astronauts
down.
just a little more time to enjoy.
Booster forward fins deployed.
Here I am, your rocket queen. Tangent and things. Nope, they're just having fun at the G-force.
Capsule has reached atmospheric pierce point.
She said, get back in your seats. Turn off your GoPro.
You're taking a look from a camera on our booster, pointing back down towards West Texas.
Astronauts experiencing max G.
Just over 6 minutes into NS-38. New Shepard's 38th launch.
Oh, their 38th. Their 38th launch.
Booster drag brakes deployed.
I can't call
Nice
them
infrared shot there.
astronauts. Not at all.
Approaching engine restart.
Oh. Watch.
Engine restart. Landing legs deployed.
There she goes. Look at that. It's like slow-mo. This is regular speed, you guys. Look at that, how it slows down. Watch. And then it's just like...
And she's
Booster
back.
touchdown.
Just
Welcome
out.
home, New Shepard booster.
Welcome home, Tail 4.
Big shout out to our friends in Kent, Texas,
Space
Huntsville, and of
tourists.
course
That's a
Florida,
good
who are
name.
all
Starting
watching.
booster auto safing.
Kristen.
A little bit of a cloudy day out in West Texas as the cold front is moving in
Okay, let's
from the
get
launch
back to the
Shepherd.
capsule. Okay, here's the capsule.
We are looking to require a picture.
comes-
There it is of the capsule.
There's their parachutes.
Capsule drogue deployment.
Teresa D says, here
Stand
come
by
the
mains.
happy endings. It's great.
Capsule mains deployed.
There you have it. 3 beautiful main chutes.
Capsule mains inflated.
I know those shots out in space are incredible to see with your own eyes, but
Capsule
I tell
body
you,
rates look good.
looking out the windows over
Agreed,
West
Blue
Texas
Jay.
ain't bad either.
Flannel stitch.
Control, we're getting a thumbs down from Elvis.
Capsule landing zone is within expected range limits.
Blue Control copies.
Just because people see this little capsule come floating back from somewhere doesn't mean this is real. It doesn't mean it does what it says it does. I'm not sold on it.
Just under 1,000
And I
feet
don't
to
feel like
land.
I'm ignorant. I'm just
Capsule
not
descending
sold.
past 1,000 feet.
I mean, this could very simply be like someone skydiving. Here they come, though. They're going to hit the ground.
TDS enabled.
That has to hurt when they hit the ground.
Stand by
Approaching
touchdown.
retro thrust fire.
Stand by touchdown.
Standby touchdown. Here they go. And they start the music.
Capsule touchdown. Welcome home, NS-38.
Welcome home above and beyond. A great touchdown there. The retro thrust system doing exactly what it's meant to do, puffing up that West Texas dust and slowing down the capsule to a
Puffing up that West Texas dust. Sounds like Lauren.
Ski, Utah.
2 miles an hour.
about
No,
a
they
mile or
don't
two.
show them getting out. They end it. What the hell? All right, let's see who it was. Blue Origin latest I gotta say astronauts because that's what they call them. Oops. Oh, the first human flight of the year was Tim Drexler Dr. Linda Edwards, Elaine Fernandez, Alberto Gutierrez, Jim Hendren, and Dr. Laura Stiles. This mission yesterday brought the total of 98 humans flown to space. So Tim Drexler is an entrepreneur and a pilot. Dr. Linda Edwards is a retired OBGYN. Shout out to the Cooters. Elaine Fernandez is a real estate developer. Alberto Gutierrez is an entrepreneur. Jim Hendren is retired U.S. Air Force colonel and founder of Hendren Plastics. And Dr. Laura Stiles is Blue Origin's director of New Shepard launch operations. What's New Shepard launch operations? New Shepard. Oh, it's one of their rockets. It is. That's what the rocket's called.
All right, at T-minus just under 40 seconds.
That's what that thing's called. Let's see their picture. Oh, that's not them. That's the celebrities that went. This is it. No, it's not even. TerraWave? Oh, speaking of wild stuff like Starlink and all this stuff. You know what's really cool is that I have Starlink internet, and if you sign up for Starlink internet right now and you get the Max Residential, you get a free Starlink Mini that you can take anywhere in the whole world for free. All you have to do is pay $5 a month to have it, and you get it. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. There's tons of videos on YouTube about it, but I've had this thing, and there's a referral code if you guys want to check out Starlink. The rocket is in the shaft and the shuttle is in the tip. Really? I don't know. I want to see who went yesterday. News? 38th. Oh, here they are. Okay. So this is Tim Drexler. This is Dr. Linda Edwards, the OBGYN. This is Elaine Fernandez, Alberto Gutierrez, Jim Hendren, who looks too young to be what he's done in his life, and Dr. Laura Stiles. That doesn't look like a Laura. Confused. Anyways, this is them. Here they are. They had a good old time yesterday, didn't they? Timothy had the time of his life. So did Jim. Jim Hendren's a lot older than he looked there. Oh, it gives their breakdowns here. Oh, we're going to have to watch that. I love streaming the launches. Artemis 2 is scheduled to launch February 6th at 9:41 p.m. It will send 4 astronauts to the moon for a flyby. Anyone who lives anywhere near Kennedy Space Center, it is quite the thing to see in the sky. It is. I love night launches. Thank you for your super chat. Oh, the au pair is taking the stand. Well, I'm going to let you go, guys. Go watch that. Because I am out of here. I've got to go do some work around the house. Whoops. Do some worksies around the houseies. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Let's get in the Cooter DeVille.
A Cooter DeVille. I think the devil drives a Cooter DeVille.
Thank you so much for your
I saw the
support today,
dreadlocks
guys.
over the
We're going to
hill.
dance it out. I got a good one picked up.
I got
Picked
time
out.
to kill. Wait
Picked
down
up,
in
picked out.
Cootersville.
Where's my
Okay.
Cooter DeVille? There she is. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I will see you tomorrow. This one's for you, Janice.